Well, hello, beautiful people. Long time no talk or speak, rather. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Um, I didn't. I failed to upload your mid-month to the end of the month scope as I was working, and I had mandatory overtime. I could not opt out. And then all of a sudden, Easter like rolled up on me, and we had family from abroad. We weren't sure they were coming, and they sort of surprised us. They ended up coming, and so I was overwhelmed with work, OT, and family. I just couldn't give it justice, your mid-month scope. So I do want to, however, explain the last week of April because it's super important for the May scope and going forward. Um, and I was going to do the last week um, of April regarding the T square and opposition, and explain it for each sign, and then jump right into your May scope. And after several attempts, it just was just too confusing, and I wasn't doing it justice for both of the T square and the May scope. So I have opted for a standalone video for the last week of April, most specifically explaining a T square with this powerful opposition, and explaining it for each sign. And then right after that, I'll be uploading the May scope. It's just better that way; it won't confuse you. But yes, we need to discuss this T square and opposition, as it is a doozy. It's very powerful, and it's setting up the stage for May and on. So first of all, this is what a T square looks like. In this case, we have Mars in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius, and stuck right in the middle, Taurus, my Taurians, the Sun in Taurus. Um, and if you can see, they're fixed signs. Um, so, yeah, it's a fixed T square, making it even more powerful. So I'll be explaining that for each sign, as well as we have. Here we go. We have. Oops. See, I've done your Mascope, but I can't do it together on one video. Um, so I'll be discussing this opposition and the T square, and then I'll be discussing your new moon in Taurus, and then also Venus's ingress into Aries, back into Aries, which will still be in shadow until May 16th, but I'll explain that for each sign. And that'll wrap up this video. But I just also listed the Mars movement. Mars is currently in Leo, but I just wanted for you to see what Mars has been doing because we had a retrograde. So it first entered Leo on November 3rd. It started retrograding in Leo, and then just a few days last week, Mars ingressed back into Leo. It will be in its shadow retrograde until May 2nd, where it reaches 6 degrees and 11 minutes. But that's not too far off. It's coming up right now. So we won't worry too much about that retrograde shadow. And then these are the exact alignments of the Mars Pluto opposition. We had one on November 3rd, one on January 3rd, but the most powerful is the one on the 27th. And again, do not get fixated on this date. It's not about the day, the hour, the minute. This is a powerful opposition that you are feeling it now. We're feeling it right now, currently, at its maximum. And we'll be feeling it very much into the future. And I believe it'll be probably almost August before we feel any reprieve or release, but I'll explain that as well. So you can see why it's very important to explain this before getting into the May scope. So let me start with Aries. Hi, Aries. Long time no speak. As I mentioned in the prelude, um, I wanted to do a video, well, your May scope, but I also wanted to touch on that last week in April with the T square, with Mars and Pluto, um, and other things that were igniting that opposition. But and then right after jump into the May scope, but it's just the information is just way too, um, I think, powerful to mix it all up. So this is the fifth time I'm recording this, and I've decided to separate the two videos. So this video will be about that last week, just this last week of April, and most especially on the Mars Pluto opposition, because this is the third and final one, and this was the most powerful. It's an ending. It's some kind of a breakup, but not a clean breakup. Um, and I'll explain why. And it also sets the tone for May. A lot of what's going to happen in May. So yeah, that's why I'm doing a standalone video. I tried to do it all together, but it's just too confusing, and it won't doesn't serve it justice. So um, let me just explain first. Leo is your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. And gambling is like, yes, casino gambling, but it is also like the gamble you take on life. The fifth house is just fun. It's the fun house, the light romance house. It's having fun. Okay, and Aquarius for you, because Pluto is in Aquarius, is your 11th house of friends, friendships, memberships, groups, associations, camaraderie, and all that. And you've been busy with both of these areas of your life since last November. Um, and remember, Mars is your ruling planet. So back in November, you did start something, maybe an urgency or something exciting, something new, maybe, or maybe you picked up something uh, from before, but it had to do about your love, romance, and children. Back in November 3rd, and all the way through November, through the Thanksgiving, you were busy with something about that. But then December came along, and you started maybe backing off of it, or reviewing what you had been doing with that through November. And then January came along, and it just fell off the radar. Things just cooled down or backed off, or just, like I said, fell off the radar. But as of April 18th, you started picking up where you left off in January, about a love, a romance, children, or creativity. And you, you started repeating either those conversations or actions since April 18th. And that's because Mars is in Leo, and Mars was in Leo November 3rd and started retrograding December, all through December. And then January, it retrograded all the way back into Cancer. And we did have the opposition, two oppositions, one on November 3rd. Mars opposed Pluto, and then on January 3rd, Mars again opposed Pluto, and then just the other day, I think the most powerful opposition happened between Mars and Pluto. It was a very yeah, doozy. It was a very, very powerful opposition, um, and it created an ending, something of an end, um, or but not a clean ending. It's like a fissure, but a crack where you can never seal it back up again. It's going to grow and grow. And here comes the ambulance on cue. Oh, all right. So that passed. Um, and why it's not a clean ending? For two reasons. One, um, is because Mars, your ruler, also co-rules Scorpio, as well as Pluto rules is the modern ruler of Scorpio. So there's this attachment. And in regards to you, Aries, Scorpio is your eighth house of joint finances and intimacy. So that is also somehow involved in this opposition. There's something about money or joint finances or intimacy, and this love, romance, or children, and what you've been doing apart from that with your groups and friends and associations. So what this opposition is it's polar opposite thinking and ideals. It's an ism, idealism. You're invested because Mars is your ruler. You're invested in the Mars in Leo. So there's some kind of heat and urgency that you were working on with, and in regards to love, romance, or children, or a creative project, or even pets. And it is being opposed by either friends, groups, a membership of some kind, or the vision of how you see yourself amongst groups and friends. There's just two polar opposites here that have but that are butting heads, and there was or there is an effort to try and reconcile these two, but neither side will back down. That's why I'm saying there's an ending. There's a fissure here. And this fissure is going to grow and grow and grow more during the summer. Uh, there will not be a relief or a reprieve until um, probably August. August is when you'll see some kind of a release or a relief here. That's how strong this opposition is. Um, and for different Aries, it'll mean different things. But for Aries and Aries rising, even for your moon sign, this is this is about your love and romance and children house and your groups and associations or your vision of your future. That is ending here. This relationship, but there's something that's attaching these two houses, and it involves money or intimacy. And don't forget, I did mention Saturn opposing Virgo in the South Node. So there is that in the background. There is something of a scheduling conflict, the routine, or taking care of someone is also like hinging on something in the background. As well as we had the Taurus New Moon. So obviously that is a new opportunity, or seeding the hopes of something new about your um, job, income, or your value system on the whole. Um, and there is also, again, some kind of a fixed ideal or stubbornness about this. Taurus is a fixed sign. Um, um, so, so for with this new moon, this will be about your job, like I said, or it can be your value system. So you will either be getting a new job, maybe getting a promotion, maybe even losing a job or a lateral move. Uranus is in Taurus, so something surprising may come up, or you may be in between jobs. And on this new moon, you will know the direction, or seeing the direction regarding a job. And since many Arians do help family or a family member, maybe uh, they rely on you on money of some sort, you will be setting up a new structure, or maybe um, scrapping it a couple of times till you get it right, or combining or taking care of someone's finances, because we also have Scorpio in the background for you with joint finances. uh, if this has to do with your value system, it will be something revolutionary and new. Even going back to old school values may seem like being revolutionary, because all of us, and in regards to you, you did go back to something uh, that you didn't want to, but you did, and it's actually you're like saying, okay, I can make this work. um, but of course, with changing structures and lifestyles and all these new things coming about, you do realize that you have to revolutionize it, or make the old into something new. Remember, we had the Virgo total lunar eclipse too, and that signaled getting rid of the way of being getting rid of the old way of being of service and finding a new niche of doing it. Um, so now going back to this Taurus new moon, I do want to emphasize, and as much as I hate this word, uh, but for lack of a better word, this all does hinge on something reimagining or reinventing um, this area of your life, your job or your income or your value system. Because, like I mentioned, it is Uranus, and Uranus does reward the unusual, the eclectic, and bold. So try to think of reinventing in a bold, eclectic way. If you're going into business or entrepreneurship, or even redoing your CV, or maybe when you go through an process, find a particular niche that you are really good at or that you really love, and market the hell out of it, and see what you can come up with that has not been done before. Like I said, something new, reinventing the old, and something about it being bold. So that's what this new moon is about. But this Mars Pluto opposition is some kind of an ending, a split, a fissure. Um, and if you remember in the April scope, I don't know if I mentioned this, but for you know, at the risk of repeating myself, I did mention in your April scope that this Mars Pluto opposition will separate. Um, it will cut. It will end the what has been going on the last 3 months, uh, and an extension in the fall regarding your love, romance, and children, and your um, friends, groups, and memberships house, or your vision of your future. Something happened here that is not reconcilable. Both of these houses are standing their ground, and like I said, it's just going to grow and grow. This separation is just going to keep growing. But yes, this Mars Pluto opposition is wrapping up January through end of April, an extension of what started in the fall. And then we do have. Let me go back. We do have Venus ingressing back into your sign direct. It is still in shadow until May 16th, um, when it reaches 9 degrees. So, Venus attracts love, money, fortune, and fame, and it will, and it has something to do about your image, about your profile, how you are seen. And Venus does rule Libra, and Libra is your partnership house. So you are going to be very pleasing, very alluring um, to the other. And there is an aspect in early May that I'll explain in your May scope that will be very lovely with Venus in your sign. Some of you, maybe all of you, do experience Venus being in your sign as burdensome. Um, I'd be remiss not to mention that. And that's just simply because Venus doesn't like to be uh, in your sign. It just doesn't like fire signs. It's not just you. It's Venus is very low key, very diplomatic, very alluring. So it's the ruler of Libra, very diplomatic, and Taurus, very artsy. So yeah, she's very low key, and that's why some of you might find that Venus being in your sign is cumbersome or a little weighty. But if you allow her due, um, she does, and she does pull in what you need. And this is in your sign, so it is about your physical self, your profile, and all that. And whatever you started back when Venus went into your sign and then retrograded, you'll be completing that throughout May. And May 16th is when it clears its shadow. Uh, so that's something very hopeful to be looking forward to. And 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 she'll be doing something special in early May in your sign. So I'll be explaining that in your May scope. But yeah, I wanted to put this out before I started the May scope. So if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments. I answer all questions, Aries. So I'll be talking to you in a few more days with your May scope. Thanks. Hi, Taurus. Hi, Taurus. I'm so sorry. I missed you guys. A long time no talk. I apologize for failing to upload your mid-month to the end of the month. Really busy with work, mandatory overtime. I could not opt out, and Easter just. I don't want to say I like forgot about it because I'm like Christian Orthodox, and we had family from out of town. I was very overwhelmed, and I just could not give it justice. Give your mid-month to the end of the month justice. The scope. So yeah, I wanted to do explain the T-square we have between your sign, the sun in your sign, Pluto in Aquarius, and Mars in Leo, and explain the powerful opposition between Pluto and Mars, um, because it sets the tone going forward, um, and it explains uh, what the decisions we'll be making. So I didn't want to upload the May scope and have you confused. So I'm doing the standalone, getting done with that, and then I'll upload the May scope video after. So as you can see, I put up a couple of slides about the T-square. This is a fixed T-square. because they're fixed. It involves fixed signs, yours, Leo, and Aquarius. And I also put up the three important dates for April. The Mars Pluto opposition on the 26th. But don't fixate on the on the day. It's not about the day or time or the minute that it happens. We are at its climax. We're still feeling this opposition, very much so. Um, and then April 27th, we had a new moon in your sign, and then April 30th, the Venus ingress into Aries direct, still in shadow until May 16th. Now, I also gave you the Mars dates because Mars did go enter Leo and then it retrograded back into Leo. And since April 18th, it's direct now in Leo. It will leave its shadow. Mars will leave its retrograde shadow in Leo on May 2nd, which is just, it's another day. Um, but I gave you the exact alignments of the Mars Pluto opposition. One happened on November 3rd when Mars first entered Leo. The second one was on the January 3rd. And in my opinion, the most powerful opposition came just a few days ago on the 27th because it's involved with this fixed T-square. Um, so I gave you those dates to help you maybe jog your memory what it was about previously, and then when it went retrograde, it retrograded all the way back into Cancer. Mars did. So what you did in November and December regarding Leo just fell off the map until April 18th when you picked up where you left off. And then it just raced towards the opposition with Pluto. And so let me explain what that means for you. So for you, Taurus, well, the Sun in Taurus, that is your first house of your physical self, physical profile, the way people see you, the way you appear. Now, Taurus also natally rules the second house of money, job, and income and value system. Okay, so something about the way you appear, your profile, your physical appearance, and there's something about money and value system in the background playing out. Leo, for you, Taurus, is your fourth house of home, family, your parents, um, the physical place you live. So it can be even an apartment or a shared space or something. And it's about your country, about your pride, about your clan. That's what the fourth house means. Leo also natally rules the fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. And many Taurians are very creative in the arts. So that could be almost half of you. Another sliver of you it's about children. The other ones it's about romance or love, um, and all that. But it has to do with your home and family and parents somehow. And there could be children or love, romance in the picture. Um, And Aquarius for you rules your 10th house of career, of your status. So single, not single, married, not married, the mother of so and so. It's a status symbol, status thing. A reputation, it rules the reputation and authority figures. And how authority figures view your reputation or your status. And authority figures can be bosses, it can be business partners, it can be your parents, it can be your partner. It's somebody in an authority position. But Aquarius also rules groups, memberships, associations, camaraderie. It also rules the hopes and visions of how someone wants to be seen among groups and friends and associations. So, besides Aquarius being your 10th house of career and status, there's something in the background about membership or camaraderie or groups. Okay. That's what Pluto is currently writing as Aquarius. And that's what Aquarius means for you. Um, so, what this T square is symbolizing, Taurus, and this tense a square is a conflict. It's it's a tense conflict, and then an opposition is simply polar opposites. Two sides have their two views, and because this is a fixed opposition with a T square, they are not budging. Both camps have their beliefs, and that is it. And you're sort of caught in the middle. Your image, your profile, the way people see you, you're caught in the middle. Now, who is a Taurus? Um, Taurians are very, very compassionate, very low key. They're very friendly and fun people, very nice. It takes a lot to get a Taurus angry. Um, uh, and but when they do get angry, they see red. It is, yeah, nothing can stop a bull. Um, and and this is between, again, your home and family and your career and status. And there's children or love involved. And this group, this membership, or this camaraderie, all in the mix. For some of you, also, it has to do with siblings or cousins or extended family of some sort. And there's a foreign element also thrown in the mix. There's a lot going on with you, Taurus. Um, but it does have um, something to do with your value system. Okay. So it can mean a lot of things. Usually, well, let's break it down a little bit. You started something back in November regarding home, your family, or your parents. Um, there was some kind of a heat urgency or something exciting or yeah, time sensitive, something you wanted that out of family or your parents or something like that. Or it could have been reversed. They could have been wanting that of you. And there was either love involved or a child or children involved. And everything was, going as is in November. But then in December, you started either backing off of that or reviewing what the month of November encompassed regarding home and family, and again, children or what have you. And then once January came along, that just dropped off the radar. Your home and family, or any agreements that you made, or what you started, it just sort of took a back seat. And then, just like I said, on April 18th, you picked up where you left off in January regarding home, family, and your parents. Uh, and that started building up tension in as far as your career and status and reputation is concerned. There was something there um, that started becoming polarization. There was something that polarization started building here. And yes, it has a lot to do with the Virgo total lunar eclipse that happened, and we had Saturn and Pisces opposing the Virgo South Node for quite a while. And Pisces is your 11th house of friends and groups in the past and what have you. Um, so there might have been a fallout or a conflict or some raising of voices or concerns with friends or a friend. Um, and again, something about you, Virgo, your fifth house of love, romance, or children that you had to reinvent and doing something new in that area of your life. And all this, and of course, all the changes. So all this started building up to this opposition. This opposition is a breakup, a split. Uh, uh, but it's not a clean break. It's like a fissure um, that sort of exploded or cracked. I mean, you heard the crack, and there will be, laughing with you, there will be no mending of this. This fissure will start growing and growing and growing during the summer, and we will not see a relief or reprieve of it until about August. Because it was, like I said, it was powerful. It was each camp is saying, "I'm right," because of this, and the more there's talk of, okay, let's meet halfway, or whatever you have you. The more the more the polarities are being becoming larger and larger, and for two reasons. One is, as if you remember, I told you in your April scope, this the end of April, and especially with this T-square opposition, it is the final break of what we've been doing in January through the end of April, and an extension what started back in fall. If you remember, that's what I said, and this is what it is. It is that ending that, you're going into this new world. Okay, but these two houses are important to me, um, uh, and it's not coming together. Okay, I need to make a decision on which way to go. Um, and these two houses, like I said, are very important to you, but there's a decision that needs to be made. And as much as you're trying to, the calm, compassionate, low key Taurus, trying to be in the middle, it is something. Things have changed. Okay, life is changing. Like we've mentioned on numerous occasions, there is a new life being laid out. We new concerns, new areas of our life. So we have to wrap this up and move forward. But that's what it is for you. It has to do about the way you appear, your physical self, your profile, your identity, and something about values. And it is about family, parents, and home, love, romance, or children, and your career, your status, and authority figures are quite powerful. Now, who wins here? It's not about winning or losing, of course, but it's about decisions and choices. And Mars is the god of war. He rules Aries, and he's in Leo, and he does what you command. You want something, he goes and gets it for you. So forward motion for Mars. Pluto is the god of the underworld. He's very, very, very powerful. Um, and I don't want to say sneaky, but like he's the god of the underworld. He welcomes Mars' destruction. He'll be standing there and saying, "I'll be your Huckleberry. Come at me." So because he wants to rebuild your 10th house of career and status. So for the most part, Pluto and Aquarius wins, but not at the behest of your home and family and your parents. There has to be something here, um, because it's home and family. That's why I'm saying it's not a clean break. Um, Also, to keep in mind is Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. And Scorpio for you is your seventh house of um, partnerships, marriage, business, and all that. So partnerships are involved here, also in the background. So there's a whole lot going on for you, and that's why I said it's not a clean break. These are really important foundational houses, and you are going to be this is going to be this is at the front of your mind now. For other Aries or Taurus, I'm sorry, that are not being directly affected, which I highly doubt, it might be about a sibling that's going through this, um, or maybe your own child. Okay, so that's what this Mars Pluto um, opposition is about. Now, the new moon in Taurus, that's just you have a new opportunity about maybe changing your physical appearance. Just be really, really careful of intrusive changes, such as plastic surgery, the diet pill or diet pen things. Uh, just, and I'm full disclosure. I'm not a health advisor, and this is not about um, advising you on health at all. This is just an entertainment video. Um, but just be really informed and really careful about that, as the sun is in your sign right now. So you are wanting to you're reviewing each time this year. You review of how you look or how you appear, but this one is kind of special because we have all these new energies. This can also spur you to get like a brand new wardrobe or makeup or trinkets, or casual to business or vice versa. And maybe it is because of a new job or a business opportunity. um, Otherwise, many Taurians are either getting engaged, married, learning they're pregnant. Um, so that might explain the image wardrobe style change to reflect that. But again, with a twist, because it is Uranus is still in your sign, so something out of the ordinary may be happening here. You really don't know how Uranus will work. Um, and the other thing with Taurians is there's a tremendous shift that you will be taking in regards to your career and status and reputation. You have this opposition from your home and family, and it's a pretty, like I mentioned, a pretty serious square. This you are forced to make a decision, um, and most of you will be hustling to do both, um, and you will probably uh, be reaching out to family for support or for them to understand, um, because your career and your status authority figures is is run by Pluto right now, and he's just way too powerful. Um, uh, but yeah, there seems to be a decision, and you have it looks like you have made a decision. Um, you've heard the saying of if you hang on to both, you lose both. But those are the stakes some of you may be dealing with. All right, Taurus, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm so glad that I'm back and talking to you guys again. Um, and after I complete this video for the rest of the signs, I'll be uploading your May scope. Take care. Hello, Gemini. Long time no talk. Geminis, please forgive me. I failed to upload your mid-month to the end of the month scope. I was working really super hard. Plus, I had mandatory overtime. I could not opt out. And then Easter. Easter just happened. I didn't forget. I promise. I'm a Christian Orthodox. But yeah, we had family also that came in from abroad. That was sort of a surprise. I mean, we knew they were like, they may be coming, but they did it sort of last minute. And I just became overwhelmed with all that. I would not have done your mid-month to end of the month scope any justice. So I deeply apologize for that. Um, and what I wanted to do, well, the last week of April, we have had and are still feeling it, a very, very powerful opposition, and with a T-square. So, and I'll explain what that is. And we had a new moon in Taurus, and I could not do the May scope without going into that T square in opposition and the new moon, because it sets up the stage for May. Besides it being the opposition being very, very powerful. So I tried to do a video where I explained that last week of April, and then right after, for each sign, and then right after do a May scope. But after several tries, it became too confusing. So what I'm doing in this video, it's a standalone video about that T square and Mars Pluto opposition and the new moon in Taurus. Um, and after I finish all the signs, right after that, I will be uploading your May scopes. All right. So if you, I did put up some slides regarding the full moon, or I'm sorry, the T square. So you can see how the T square is formed. It is between Mars in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius, and stuck right in the middle is the Sun in Taurus. And I'll be explaining that, but I did put up a slide. I think you might be viewing it now. And then I also put up the planetary alignment and aspects of the Mars in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius, and then the new moon in Taurus, and then Venus ingressing back into Aries. I also gave you the when Mars first entered in Leo, when it went retrograde, and when it came back into Leo on April 18th. And I also gave you the exact alignments of the Mars Pluto opposition, which was November 3rd, January 3rd, and then this last one, April 27th. Remember, it's not about the day, the time, the minutes. We are at the peak of this opposition. You are feeling it right now. It's at the maximum. And this opposition is quite powerful, and we will not be um, feeling a reprieve of this until about August. Um, Relief, release, or reprieve. And I'll be explaining why and how that affects you. All right. So, Gemini. First, let's discuss Taurus and the new moon. So, a new secret, or maybe secret admirer, or secret project, behind the scenes endeavor. Um, Maybe it's about faith or religion, or a new therapist, um, or taking care of something, maybe with a friend or friends, or maybe it's a family project, maybe siblings. Um, and there's travel, long distance travel, or foreigners involved. Maybe it's a job or business opportunity. And of course, nothing in life is free, and these things cost money. So there's also the issue about money. So, your thoughts on starting something new here, or seeding the opportunity of any one or a combination of these things, also has your mind on the cost or value of it. Remember, Taurus natally rules the second house of job, income, and your value system. But one thing for sure is you are changing on how you are doing things here. You are wanting to control maybe the surprise factor that you may have been having, in the last 7 years, with secrets in the past, maybe your faith and so on, because it is Uranus in Taurus. Uranus does surprise, where you are in control of surprises elements and not others surprising you here, or letting out your secrets. So that new moon signifies something new or seeding, again, the hopes of something new regarding a secret or behind the scenes project, or like I said, taking care of someone, or something about spirituality. Now, let's discuss this T square opposition. So the sun is in Taurus, so your focus is on a secret or something in the past or behind the scenes. Um, and we have uh, Mars in Leo, that's opposing powerful Pluto in Aquarius. Leo for you, Gemini, is your third house of communication, communication devices, commuting, modes of commuting. It is the house of your siblings, cousins, extended family. It is social media. It is vision, and language, your need to be heard. Leo also natally rules the fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity. So, in regards to siblings, maybe, or extended family, or communication, there's something in the background about children, or romance, or a creative project trying to take off. Remember, back in November, there was some sort of um, urgency, or desire to get something done in regards to your third house of siblings, commuting, or communication, maybe social media. And then December, you became very busy, maybe with family or other things, because you started to slow down on this project, um, and started reviewing it, reviewing how much you accomplished in November. Um, but then January rolled in, and it fell off the radar. It was just put on a back burner, and that was because Mars retrograded in Leo in December and retrograded all the way back into Cancer. But um, the week of the 18th, April 18th, Mars ingressed back into Leo direct. So you picked up where you left off in November, December, since April 18th. That has come back on your radar again. And yeah, you're doing something here, but it started to build up pressure of what you have been accomplishing in regards to long distance travel, higher education, foreigners, publishing, or the World Wide Web. Back in November, you started something here, you started planning things here, or you started working on something in regards to this. And it was with a group or an association or friend or friends, um, and you've made a lot of headway. Now you have an opposition between your your siblings, communication and commuting, and again, something about love, romance, or children, and long distance travel, higher education, foreigners, or about friends or friends. So that's the opposition. Mars in Leo. Leo is your third house, and then Pluto's in Aquarius. Aquarius is your ninth house of long distance travel. So there's polar opposites here. There's um, an ism like idealism, uh, radicalism, an ism here on both sides of the story. They're polar opposites. There is something, both camps feel they are right in their own way, and they are not going to be budging. Now, whose side are you on? You are on the side of the third house, because Mars, you have an interest in your Leo related house. Mars is on your side. He's trying to make happen what you want to happen in regards to siblings, communication, social media, and so forth. But Pluto is quite powerful, more powerful than Mars, I should say. Mars is fearless, but Pluto is very powerful. And there is something that is, yeah, there's two camps here. They're at odds. If you are not directly involved, it will be, like I said, playing out either with a sibling or extended family of some sort. and this foreigner or higher education. And there's love and romance and children in the mix. So it's very, very personal for you. You rule the third house of siblings and communication. So this is personal. You siblings almost, and if you're an older child, even a middle child, you feel that siblings are almost like your children as well. There's a very, very strong connection here. Um, but that's what the opposition. It can mean a whole slew of things, but that's where you have the opposition. And remember, your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, publishing, you are empowered here, Gemini. If you are able to learn how to square a round peg, because we have this super square with Pluto, Leo, and Taurus, um, but it doesn't seem likely because there are these two. There's just powerful forces here that are not going to budge. That is, you most likely will have a situation where there is tension regarding how you are going to make something work, um, and might be a creative project, or it might also involve government, maybe. Um, and for most of you, I've said this before, it is about a sibling or someone close that is going through something, maybe about immigration, travel, a foreigner, higher education, maybe love, and there's children involved. So that's why I'm saying you may not be directly impacted as much as you are taking responsibility or trying to help, where you are then getting involved or have been involved. Now, this opposition is ending something, it is breaking something. Um, it's like it's like our political system. It's like the Republicans and the Democrats, total polar opposites. They each one believes one thing, so there has to be something that ends here, and it's not. But it's not a clean end because there's something involved in the background. Well, I don't know if you remember, but I did say in your April scope that um, at the end of April, with this T square opposition, it will be finishing up what we have been doing from January through the end of April. And an extension, January through March, April, was what we started in the fall. So it has to end, it has to come to a conclusion as we are stepping into the new, starting May. Um, so this ending, this split, is what it's going to do is it's going to create a fissure that's going to be expanding slowly and more wide and wider during the summer, where in August it's either a release, a relief, or a reprieve. Now we do have Pluto that will be going retrograde this coming month, and I'll explain that in your May scope. Um, but that will, for some, it will be like, phew, you know, I dodged that bullet, but it's only temporary because Pluto will start going retrograde. For others, Pluto going retrograde, it might be even more intense because it goes deeper and down, more under. Remember, sorry, Pluto welcomes any of Mars's threats because Pluto wants to destroy what your ninth house is, because Pluto wants to rebuild that house on a stronger footing. So that's what it is, Gemini. It's it is about that. Now we also do have, I mentioned, Venus ingressing back into Aries. It will still be in shadow until May 16th, but it's a very good thing. A Venus attracts love, money, fortune, fame, goodwill, and all of that. Um, and Aries is your 11th house of groups, friends, and associations. So there will be some sort of a release, even with this opposition, with this ending or fissure. There will be not a reversal or some kind of an out, and it looks to be your 11th house of groups or friends that'll be helping here. All right, Gemini. So that's what this video is about. It's just explaining that awesome opposition in T square and how that will be playing out through the May scope and all the way into August. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments. And it is really good to talk to you guys again after a few weeks. All right. I'll talk to you in the next video, your Mayscope. Hey, hey, hi, Cancer. Long time no talk. I'm so sorry. I failed to upload your mid month to the end of the month scope as I was working and I had mandatory overtime. I could not opt out. And then Easter, all of a sudden, just happened. And we had family that came in, and I just couldn't do it your scope's justice. Um, so I apologize about that. Um, and the other thing is, I wanted to do the last week of April, starting from the 18th, and on, we have a really powerful fixed T square and a Mars and Pluto opposition, a very powerful one. Um, and I wanted to explain those because that sets the tone for May and going forward. Um, and I wanted to do it in one video and then do your May scope as well on it, but it just became too confusing. So what I'm doing with this video is just explaining the last few aspects of April, which is the Mars Pluto opposition and the T square with the Sun in Taurus and the new moon in Taurus. Um, and for you, especially since you're ruled by the moon, I'm going to be discussing just a couple of things about the moon. And this will be a standalone video on that. And then after I complete this, I'm going to upload your May scopes right away. So here we go with you. So in the slides, I think, well, way in the beginning of the video, I've put them up, but just in case you guys like skip straight to your sign, in the slides, I do have a chart that shows you what a T square is and where it is happening. So we have Mars in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius and forming a T square with the Taurus Sun. Um, so I'll explain that. And then I also put up the planetary alignments and aspects for April 26th, the 27th, and the 30th. Sorry about that. Which gives you what I'm going to be discussing in this video with the degrees, so you can see if it matches to anything in your natal chart, as well as I did give you the Mars in Leo dates. Um, that slide should be up too, but again, if you don't see it, it's in the beginning of the video. So November 3rd, Mars entered Leo. The 6th, Mars then on December 6th, Mars started retrograding in Leo, and then on the 18th of April, just a week or two ago, Mars ingressed back into Leo, going direct. Um, and then the exact alignments of the Mars Pluto opposition, which was November 3rd, January 3rd, and the most powerful one that just happened on 27th of April. And again, do not get fixated on the day or time or minute, because these are powerful energies. The Mars Pluto opposition, we are feeling it right now. It's at its climax. And we will be feeling it. And this opposition, a polarity of opposite, it's a polarizing opposition, will not give us any reprieve or release, um, probably until August. So let me discuss Mars and Leo for you is your second house of job, income, and your value system. And natally, Leo also rules the fifth house of creativity, children, love and romance, and even pets. And Pluto in Aquarius, Aquarius is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, taxes, credits, and loans, and other people's money. Um, Aquarius also natally rules like groups, friendships, associations, memberships of any kind, and how you want to see a vision of yourself in the future. So that is at the back of the mind as well. Now, the sun is in Taurus, and Taurus is your 11th house of groups, friends, and associations. And Taurus, again, natally rules the second house of job and income. So, excuse me. First, let's discuss um, the new moon in Taurus. This has something to do with your friends, a friend, group, or association, and something about money or a job, or your value system. Um, so it might be, a friend or friends and some kind of a value to them or you them, or you're getting a job through maybe a friend or a group, or maybe there's a venture going on. For other Cancerians, there is some kind of a judgment of people judging, maybe, and that may be what might be getting under your skin. Um, there's something of an "I told you so," or it could be like this person or that person did the same, and um, see how they ended up, or that's why they're in this situation. There's something about judgment here, um, but it sits in the middle of this opposition, and I'll talk about the opposition right after I discuss a little bit about the moon. So you are ruled by the moon. So major things that happen with the moon affect you. And we did have a full moon in Libra. I've already done a full moon in Libra for all signs. You can hear that if you want. It's on the channel and in the playlist. But now we do have a last quarter moon in Aquarius. Again, um, Aquarius for you is your eighth house of joint finances and taxes. Um, and last quarter moon is um, preparing you. It's the second to the last step of ending something, of cutting back something, uh, um, of harvesting something that you had planted at the new moon in Aquarius at the end of January, this past January, because we had a new moon in Aquarius back then. So this has to do with something about that, or it could have been a new endeavor or a new opportunity, and now you are knowing or realizing that it's the next to the last step uh, of an ending here. That's what the last quarter moon in Aquarius is representing for you. And again, it's in regards to your eighth house matters, and in regards to maybe a group, friends, or a membership of some kind. Um, that to the side, uh, we let's look at the opposition. So Mars is the planet of go get 'em. Whatever you want, it goes for it. Uh, Pluto is the planet, the god of the underworld. Very, very powerful. The riches are planted in the underworld, even seeds, gold, minerals, and so forth. And Pluto is powerful. Mars is the god of war. So they're both very powerful, but Pluto is a little bit more powerful. And Pluto welcomes any destruction Mars wants to make. So, what I'm trying to say here is this opposition for you is between your two major money houses. So, I'm sorry, that's my pocket snore. So, and it's involved with a T square, like I mentioned. So, there is a conflict about money, about your value system, about how other people value you, um, about maybe joint finances, maybe inheritance, taxes, credits, loans, and how that's affecting your job or your income. Or it could be you or a partner is taking a hit regarding money and there's squabbling about that. This has to do about money and values. But some, your two money houses are at polar opposites. Um, so it's about what you earn and owe versus what others earn or owe. And the square involves the sun in Taurus, so groups and friends, but Taurus also rules money. Um, you are wanting one thing, and Pluto, your maybe joint finances, maybe a partner's income is wanting something else, and you are just at a complete standstill. Um, this might have to do with um, a separation or a divorce where you're trying to um, maybe alimony, child support, um, um, or splitting up joint finances or something. But there's an ending here um, of, of of whatever it is here that's happening. Uh, and um, sorry, I'm thinking because we have the last quarter moon as well in Aquarius. So most of you will be severing joint finances, and you will be managing your own money. Even if you're not in a divorce or a separation, there's something about this is mine and that is yours. And it's just you're not coming to some agreement here, and it starts to crack, starts to end here, um, and this crack will start growing more in size as we go through the summer months. And if you remember in your April scope, I did say that by the end of April, and with this Mars Pluto opposition, it will be cutting off the last 3 months, January through March, April. And an extension, whatever happens, started in November. So, November 3rd, you became very busy, and some, excuse me, some sort of urgency about a job or income, or value system, um, wanting to maybe keep what you had. Um, in any case, November, all through November, you were dealing with that, and then December came around, and you started reviewing how far you had been coming along with that. Um, also, Leo rules natally the fifth house of children, love, romance, creative projects. So that might have been playing out in the background. Um, and then once January came in, it sort of fell off the radar, or you put that aspect of your life on the back burner for some reason. And then just on April 18th, you picked up where you left off about a job, income, or value system. And once you started doing that again, you came up to this opposition regarding joint finances, intimacy, inheritance, uh, or how others are valuing you, or taxes, government benefits, and all that. And yeah, there's either a finale here, or some type of an ending, some type of a breakthrough or breakdown, uh, but it's not a clean break. Like I said, there's something in the background that's still going on that needs to play out, and but it is the beginning of ending something here. And like I mentioned, in August is when we will get this release of this is a very, very powerful opposition. Now, if you are not directly involved in this, um, you will feel it through others very powerfully, maybe through a child or a lover or a partner that's going through it, because or maybe even a friend or friends or a group, because it's very significant. Um, then the last aspect is Venus will be ingressing back into Aries direct, but it still is in shadow until May 16th. It clears its shadow by then, and that'll be in your May scope. I'll discuss that. But with Venus ingressing back into Aries, uh, remember, Aries is your 10th house of career status and authority figures. Excuse me. And it has, and something about your career, your status, your reputation, has to do with an image, or how you are seen. It's very important to you. So you might have been having issues with that, with career status when it was retrograding, but now that Venus is direct, you'll be revisiting those areas, and this time with the direct motion. Venus attracts money, love, fortune, fame, niceties, diplomacies, and all that. So that should start to be smoothing over, but it's all tied in. So that is what the T-square and the Pluto opposition is to Mars and the Venus ingress. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and as soon as I finish this standalone video, I will be uploading your May horoscope. All right, Cancer, take care. I will be talking to you in the next video. Hi, Leo. Leos. Uh, my good compatriots. I am so sorry. I was not able to upload your mid month to the end of the month scope, as I was working plus overtime. I had mandatory overtime. I could not opt out. And then all of a sudden, it was like Easter. Um, and we had family from out of town. So I was very, very overwhelmed. And I just didn't want to throw together a band aid video, and it would not have done it justice. And now that I'm preparing your May horoscope, uh, the last couple of things that happened in April are very important to understand your May horoscope. And what I tried to do was explain those last couple of things in April and then for each sign, and then do the May horoscope and explain it for each sign. And that was getting just way too confusing. So I decided to do this standalone video for the three major things that happened at the end of the April for each sign. And then as soon as I upload that, I'll upload your May scopes. Uh, so in the beginning of the video, I did throw up uh, a couple of slides with showing you what a T-square is, because I'm going to be discussing that. That's what happened. And also some planetary aspects and alignments for those three aspects that I want to discuss. But since most of you just skip straight to your sign, I have included in the slides um, the the image of a T square, and you can see it is between Mars in Leo, opposing Pluto in Aquarius, and the T square is with the Sun in Taurus, which is poor Taurus. It's falling right in the middle of this opposition, this very powerful opposition, and this is a fixed T square, so that makes it even more um, entrenched. And uh, I also, in one of those slides, did give the dates of the Mars in Leo, when it first entered, when it retrograded, and on April 18th, that just passed, when it ingressed back into Leo direct. And I gave you the exact alignments of the Mars Pluto opposition. So one was on November 3rd, one was on January 3rd. And the most powerful out of these three was just now on the 27th of April. And again, don't get fixated on the day, the time, or the minute. These are powerful energies I'm talking about, especially with this Mars Pluto opposition. We are feeling it right now. It is in its climax. And we will not be getting a reprieve, relief, or release all the way up to until August with this opposition. So keep that in mind. And this is why I wanted to do the standalone video. So let's discuss what it means for you, Leo. So, Mars in Leo, that is your first house of self, of your identity, of your persona, your profile, your physical appearance, and just your essence, um, what you hold dear and near. Leos are very confident, very compassionate, outgoing people, and you do rule natally the fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity, and pets. Leos adore their pets. So Mars is in your sign right now, and it is going to be fighting for what you want your image and your profile to be. It is all about you. And it could be simply losing weight, or changing a wardrobe, or trinkets or no trinkets. It can be something mundane as that. But it's with this opposition, it's more about your pride, your confidence, your essence. Now, Aquarius, we have Pluto in Aquarius, and Aquarius rules your seventh house of partnerships, personal, intimate, business, platonic. Um, Anybody who knows you really, really well can be a partner. Your daughter can be a partner. Your brother can be a partner if they know you really well. Yeah. Um, and you have been feeling the intensity of partners ever since November. You have powerful partners. Um, so anything significant regarding Aquarius is important to you. Um, like I said, your partners are powerful in some way. This significance, again, was triggered in November when Pluto entered Aquarius. Um, Now, and with now Mars in your sign, and was in your sign in November and December, uh, there was an opposition on November 3rd to Pluto, but at that time it was in Capricorn. So it has something to do with your health or your habits or routine. And then on January 3rd, the second opposition between Mars and Pluto, uh, it was in regards to a partner or partnerships. Um, but Mars was retrograde again. Uh, your partners being very powerful. Um, okay, so And Taurus for you, because we have the T squared and the sun is in Taurus and it's falling in the middle of this opposition. Taurus for you is your 10th house of career, status, reputation, and authority figures. It's a very important house as well. Um, and what is happening, especially with this T square opposition, um, it, it, it's polar opposites. Uh, Leo and Aquarius face each other. So naturally, it's your seventh house. But with this T square opposition and the third and final, opposition, both sides are entrenched in their isms, idealisms, mannerisms, what have you. And what this represents is something that you may have acquired or something of value to you, um, uh, or um, can have to do with maybe property or value, or it may be something about money, maybe. But with this opposition, something about your partners are in a position where they are maybe wanting a part of that, of what you have acquired. Uh, Maybe they're wanting to share some of it, or nipping. It's like they're nipping at it. A- and for some reason, well, not some reason, it's because Mars is in your sign. Um, you are not wanting to let this go. You're not wanting to share this, whatever this is, and you have your set beliefs in whatever it is, and they have a set belief that you should be sharing for whatever maybe they feel contribution that they've made, or there may have been an agreement prior to this to share um, something of value, and now you've changed your mind, uh, and some of you are saying, well, that was then, this is now. As you can tell, I'm laughing with you, Leo. I'm laughing with you. Like I said, Pluto is very, very powerful, um, and it can be intimidating. So your partners are very powerful, and when they have that, they're holding that up against you or over your head, like, well, you said it was okay, what? And you're like, well, now it's changed. Well, what has changed? It's that kind of back and forth. It's that kind of tensity that's happening. um, Now, Leos, like I said, are very proud, confident creatures, and very compassionate. um, um, and you might approach it in different ways, but I'm just going to, Mars is in your sign for a reason. Like I mentioned before, uh, it is where you are, where you need to be with this partnership, and you might hold this certain ground, um, and it might be intimidating. You know, it might be fearful to you, even though Leos really don't do fear. Um, uh, you're way over that, but you will stand your ground. What I'm trying to say is there is some kind of a break here, because neither of you are going to budge from this. Um, they are set in their ways, and you are set in yours about this value thing, about your image, or what have you. You're relaying it to, like, people trespassing over your image of, um, maybe, like, taking what is not theirs, but they're looking at it another way. So again, it's like uh, each will stand their ground, and there is a break here, but it's not a clean break. It's not like an ending. That's it. Everybody goes their separate ways, and on and on, um, because there is maybe love or child involved here, or maybe a group of some kind, or camaraderie. Um, but in the background, and you might not think like standing your ground will cause this break, uh, but you, your partner may, your partner or partners may have decided that this is the last straw, um, and they will walk, or something, but it's not now. It's not at this state. It's not here. It will be like a fissure, with cracks, and these cracks will widen and widen and widen um, during the summer, where where you'll feel them, but the release, the reprieve, the relief will not happen until sometime in August. But currently, what there's two things that uh, that I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of how to say it. Well, one currently, the release point, even though it's not really a release, it's the Sun in Taurus. It is your house of career and status and your reputation or authority figure. So it's either you or your partners, um, like maybe blaming each other or complaining about each other to others who may be in some type of an authority type of status, and and no matter what they're saying, like I said, it's you opposite your partner. So you will not budge, and they will not budge. But and your partners are powerful. And what's happening is we have Venus ingressing back into Aries on the 30th, uh, and Venus now is direct, but it will not clear its shadow until May 16th. I think at 9 degrees. It's in the chart in the very beginning of the video. And now that Venus will go direct, and Aries is your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, long distance travel, uh, publishing in the World Wide Web. So, sorry, uh, like I said, one current release will be your 10th house of career and status in the 30 figures. And then when Venus enters Aries direct, you will have that reprieve too. Like with this opposition with this partner or partners, when Venus enters Aries, it sort of gives you or them a like a not like a way out, maybe a saving face of some kind. Um, because, like I said, this is like the straw that breaks the camel's back. This fissure will start getting bigger, but each one wants to save face or find some type of a release point. Um, uh, and you will be getting busy with your ninth house matters. Um, and you and with Venus ingressing into Aries now, that's a fellow fire sign. So the fear or intimidation that you may be feeling regarding this decision, regarding a partner, uh, this Venus in Aries will help you quite a lot. It will, for many of you, make you realize that you can do it on your own. Okay, because this partnership situation with you guys, um, it's, how can I say it? Because they're so powerful, there's something that you rely on um, with them uh, for you. Or, like I mentioned, if it's maybe your own adult child, or maybe a sibling or a family member, uh, you just don't want to end that. You just don't do that because you rule that fifth house of love, romance, and children. So that's why it's so hard for you. Uh, it's really difficult to explain for you guys, Leos. And maybe 98% of you will understand what I'm saying, while that 2% who may be very young or not be directly involved will be like, what the hell is she saying? Uh, um, but yeah, that's where the tension is between you and partners. But you have that release with the new moon in Taurus. Now, the new moon in Taurus, again, it's you're either embarking on a new opportunity or seeding the hopes of something about doing something different in regards to your career status and your reputation. Um, Sorry, I'm just checking my notes. Yeah, just to recap this Sun Pluto, and I'm spending a little bit longer with you because you are one part of the star of the show, one point of the star of the show, and it's a very, very powerful opposition. So, just to recap, this Sun Pluto square is really about money, job, finances, property, or something of value uh, between you and a partner or partners, and it may involve, or something in the background is about children, a love, maybe even pets, and something of a membership or an association of some kind. How you are seen, how your reputation plays in all this, and foreigners, or maybe even the next generation. Either a partner is short on money, or they're in a bind, um, and that's what they're uh, looking to this item of value, um, or you are, and there is a tense aspect between you two. The tense aspect could again simply be your partner is somehow powerful, strict, or has a maybe a personal problem, and maybe they're not divulging everything for you to you, or they're not in a position to do that, and you are caught in their way, sort of. Um, there is, of course, more to it, which I believe there are, again, joint finances, or a property, or an item of value, and who controls that is in the fray. All right, Leo, I know it was a little maybe confusing or intimidating, but it is what it is. It is a very, very powerful opposition, and there is a decision here being made. But this decision, whatever it is, the face value is polar opposites, but there's a decision in the background that's being made, and that's what's causing this growing fissure that'll grow significantly through the summer. If you have any questions, please throw them in the comments. I do answer all questions, and I will be uploading your May scopes after this video uploads. And please forgive my tardiness. I'll talk to you soon. Hi, Virgo. Virgo, missed you guys. I am terribly sorry about failing to upload your mid month to the end of the month scope. I had, of course, I work full time and I had mandatory overtime. I could not opt out. And then all of a sudden, my family was like, hey, it's Easter tomorrow. And we had family from out of town, and I was just way overwhelmed. I did not think it was a good idea to put up a band aid kind of scope for the mid month. So I apologize about that. And I've written out your May scopes, and I was, after several attempts, I've decided to do something different because there is three aspects the last week of April that are very significant to know before you can understand the May scope. So I tried to do it all in one video, but it became way too confusing. So what I'm doing with this video is just going over those three very important aspects in April, explaining them. And then after I upload this video, I will be uploading your May scopes. So in the very beginning of this video, I did throw up a chart, a horoscope wheel with we have a T-square with an opposition. So I threw that up, as well as I threw up the three aspects that I'll be discussing with the degrees on there, as well as some dates for you. And I think I might have them also in the slide shows looping, so you might be able to see those too. But if not, they're in the beginning of the video. So what is going on? What happened? What is happening? What has climaxed, and we're still feeling it? Well, first we have a T-square between a fixed, on top of that, it's a fixed T-square. It's Mars in Leo that is opposing Pluto in Aquarius, and the line of the T is the Sun in Taurus. So that's the T-square. Square is a conflict, it's intensity. And then we have the famous third and final Mars-Pluto opposition, and this is the most powerful one, and I will explain why. And then we have the new moon in Taurus, and then we have Venus finally ingressing back into Aries in direct motion. So let's see what this all means for you, Virgo. I didn't do that. I should do that. Sorry. Let me just 8, 9. All right. So, first Taurus for you is your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, long distance travel, the World Wide Web, and publishing. And we had a new moon in Taurus. So some new opportunity in any one of the things I mentioned regarding your ninth house, or a combination of them, or you're seeding something, starting something new in regards to the ninth house. Again, higher education, long distance traveling, publishing, World Wide Web, philosophy. Traveling is long distance, but it can also be traveling in the mind, as they say. So that's the new moon that's going on, and the sun is in Taurus, so you are reviewing this area. You're doing your annual review, but this time it's a little more special. You're paying more attention to it because it is um, smack in the middle of a T-square between Mars and Pluto. Now, Mars is in Leo. Leo is your 12th house of behind the scenes, of secrets, of your faith, of or no faith, of religion, confining institutions, the past, uh, and secrets. And also, Leo rules natally the fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity. So there's something in the background regarding that and your 12th house of secrets and behind the scenes. And then, of course, Pluto is in Aquarius. Aquarius is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, scheduling, and taking care of someone. Also, Aquarius rules natally friends, friendships, memberships, associations, camaraderie, um, and your hopes and visions of the future. So um, now you started something behind the scenes or in secret or about religion, something about your 12th house, and it could have, like I said, mentioned something about romance or a child or a creative project in the background playing out. You started uh, something here with heat and urgency or intensity back in November. Um, and then December, it just slowed down, or you were reviewing how far along maybe this came through with in November. And then January, it just fell off the radar. You just put it on the back burner for some reason. But as of April 18th, you did pick up where you left off with this behind the scenes thing, um, or the past, or a secret, again, faith or religion, or taking care of someone. And you're working on this, uh, and it's coming up to an opposition, and it opposed Pluto in Aquarius, your sixth house, taking care of someone, of your health, habits, and routine. Uh, Sorry, I'm thinking. Okay, for some of you, um, this is about either a romance or a child, maybe your child, um, and you are helping them behind the scenes or in secret, or like it's just you don't want other people all up in your business, so you're just keeping it between you two, um, but and you've gone back to doing something. uh, you maybe it's work, um, or maybe it's associations. You've gone back to doing something um, that was a sure thing. Maybe that's why I'm saying maybe it's work, because your sixth house of routine is involved here somehow. Um, but you're trying to juggle two, maybe three things at the same time, because you're trying to help someone, either in secret, or it's just something between you two. And there's a child or a romance uh, thing involved. For most of you, I think it's about a child. um, but and whatever you've gone back to doing, maybe it's a job, um, or something, you actually being like, oh well, yeah, this can work. You're like you're feeling comfortable, like you're feeling in control again, because you went back to doing what you were doing. But that has sort of, how can I say this, infringed on your time for this other new endeavor or a new creative project that you've been working on, and you've been seeing results. So you have a decision here. There's some type of a decision here. Um, and do you go forward or do you go back? And of course, like I said, going back feels good because you've mastered it. You know what you're doing here. Um, but going forward is for the long run, and going forward is the better option, and it's more powerful. It's Pluto. Mars is fearless, yes, but Pluto is much more powerful than Mars is. But you're still wanting to balance. You're still wanting to um, achieve all two or three things. You're still wanting to do that, and there it is coming because you are trying to help something or someone that is near and dear to you. It can be, well, anyway, there's a decision that's going to be made because of this opposition, because this opposition is very powerful between Leo and Aquarius. So, this opposition between your 12th house and your 6th house um, is there's something cracking here and causing a fissure. Um, and you're having to make a decision. Um, and there is a decision, but it's not a clean decision um, an abrupt decision. It may be an abrupt decision in your mind, but it's going to be like a slow fissure, like something cracking. And the more you drive, it's like the crack on a. You get a small little pebble hitting your windshield, and then there's a crack. And then the more you drive, the more bumpiness and the more new changes that are going to come about. The more this crack will become longer and longer. So that's what will be happening during the summer. Um, and in August is where there's either a reconcilement, a reprieve, a relief, or a release. Okay. Uh, and this is not a struggle um, that you are unaware of. This has happened two times before. Again, November 3rd, January 3rd, and now most recently, uh, 27th, 26th. Anyway, it's not about the exact day or time, but because it is at its climax right now. I mean, it was on April 26th, but it is a very powerful opposition and it's at its climax. You're feeling it now. But Virgo, for you, you're at ease with something. It's almost like you don't have to be affected. Um, like you've got all bases covered. And but there is something of stepping back from this, be wanting to be alone or rid of this, and this will start to grow. Then we have Venus ingressing into Aries, uh, direct motion right now, and Aries is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, inheritance, taxes, credits, loans, uh, how you benefit from other people's money, or how others value you. Also, with this, you've been working on something, and it you thought that this would have taken longer, but it happened um, almost like in a short amount of time. So you've secured something here with joint finances as well. So now Venus going direct in Aries. Venus, of course, attracts love, money, fortune, and fame. And you are going to be benefiting again in regards to joint finances, inheritance, taxes, credits, loans, government benefits. Many of you, it's about government benefits. Maybe if you're younger, it can be like school grants or stipends or something like that. So, I'm not really too worried about you guys in that regard because you've secured regards money. You're okay. It's just something that you're working on in the background, trying to help somebody or something. There's something creative about it, and with this opposition. So that's what's going on for you Virgos. If you have any questions, you can definitely throw them in the comments. I answer all questions, and I will be uploading your May scopes after I finish this video. Hey, hi Libra. Hi Libra. Missed you guys. I am first so very sorry that I failed to upload your mid month to the end of the month scopes. Just really super busy with work, and mandatory overtime. I could not opt out. And then Easter just like rolled up on me out of nowhere. Uh, and I feel bad about saying that because I'm Orthodox Christian and I shouldn't be saying that. And then I got super busy with something else in the background. So I just did not want to upload a Band Aid kind of video for you guys. Um, I was just overwhelmed and I decided just to, take it easy. Uh, and I wanted to upload your May scope, but there's the three important aspects that uh, happened the last week of April that really you have to understand before you can understand your May scope. And I wanted to combine those, but it just became way too confusing. So I decided to do this standalone video explaining those last three important aspects in April for each sign. And then after I upload this, I will be uploading your May horoscope. Um, so in the very beginning of the video, I did put up a chart explaining one of the aspects, well, showing you a visual of one of the aspects, which is a T-square uh, uh, with an opposition, caught in the middle of an opposition. And I'll explain what those are and what that means for you. But in the very beginning of the video, I did do put up that, and I also um, in the beginning of the video listed the three main aspects with the degrees, and I gave you some dates that are relevant. And I think they're also in the slides that are looping, so you'll recognize them if you see them. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Y'all came out of nowhere. I apologize. Oh my gosh. All right, let's move on. So, what I'm discussing first is there was a new moon in Taurus. Um, and Taurus for you, Libra, is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, the mortgage, inheritance, taxes, uh, credits, loans, government benefits, um, the taboo or secrets, or the past. Taurus also natally rules the second house of job, income, and value system, our value system on the whole. So there was either a new opportunity here, or you seeded the hopes of doing something new and different in regards to joint finances, intimacy, or again, government benefits or something like that. Um, so that is what the new moon and the sun is also in Taurus. So you're doing your annual review here of this space. But this year it's important as it's shining a light on all the deep, dark crevices of your joint finances. You're reviewing here, like I mentioned, with the new moon. You're doing something different here, or your circumstances are changing, where there is something new and different here in regards to your joint finances. Uh, so that is part of the T square. The other two parts is Mars is in Leo and opposing Pluto in Aquarius. So, Leo for you is your 11th house of friends, groups, associations, memberships of any kind, camaraderie, and also how your hopes, your visions, and your dreams of the future, of how you want to be seen amongst these groups and friends. Uh, and it is, you do want some kind of uh, well, it's Leo, so there's royalty, it's confidence. You do want to be seen as such. Now, Leo also natally rules the fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. It's a very compassionate sign here. And Aquarius for you, Libra, is your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, pets, and gambling. And Aquarius natally rules friends, groups, and associations and your future vision. So we have an opposition here. Um, and these are two polar opposites, and they're two entrenched views. So something about friends or groups or associations for some of you. For others, it is about how you want to be seen amongst people, amongst your groups. Uh, you have this specific ideology, that this specific portrait that you have in your head of what you want to achieve here or how you want it to be. And Mars is the god of war and the planet of let's go get it, let's go get what you want. And Pluto, of course, is the god of the underworld, and very, very powerful, quite powerful, uh, and very intimidating. Um, and Pluto sometimes does things in an underhanded way, sort of. Or maybe manipulation can be playing in this. Now, it's writing your fifth house of love, romance, and children. So there's something about either a romance or a lover or children or a child it seems powerful. There's a power play here, um, and it has come up to a head, where this conflict, um, this with joint finances, intimacy, or how other people value you is in the mix, and th- this opposition is so powerful that there's a crack here. There's an ending, uh, but it's not a clean ending because there's investment in here where you are not able to end something here. It's but that's why it's a crack. What I'm meaning is, both of these houses are not going to budge an inch because this is a fixed T-square on top of that. It's all fixed signs. So all these signs are not going to budge in their ideology. It's an ism, idealism, fanaticism, politicism. It's an ism that is very entrenched. It's like the political parties, um, Republicans and Democrats, uh, the hardcore ones. They're dug in. There will Nothing is going to budge them. It's going to be their way or no way. And this is how this very powerful third and final Pluto Mars opposition is all about, which is creating a crack, and this crack will grow in size. Libra, there is a fissure here that's forming. It's like, another analogy I gave is like, a pebble hits your windshield and there's a crack, and the more you drive, the more of the rumbling. So the more you're driving into this new world, the more it's shaking this car, and this crack is just becoming longer and wider and bigger throughout this summer. It will not sustain. And the reprieve, release, reconcilement, or what have you will finally come sometime around August of whatever is happening here. Because with this opposition to, with this entrenchment, um, I mean, it may have become a verbal argument, but mostly, it's Mercury's not really involved here. So this is mostly like, okay, you're going to do that. All right, I'm going to do this. Then we'll see. It's one of those type of deals. It's like almost within ourselves. We're making this decision, this crack, this ending within ourselves, and there's a promise to ourselves about this. And if you remember in your April scope, I did mention that the activities of April, and especially the ending of April with this Mars Pluto opposition, is what cuts clean, uh, away what we've been working on from January through March and into April. And in extension, it started in uh, last fall. So Mars entered Leo on November 3rd, and there was, some kind of heat urgency that you were taking in regards to groups, friends, and maybe a lover or a child or children. And then December came along, and it's sort of that heat and urgency sort of simmered down, or you started reviewing what was going on, and then come January, it just fell off the radar, and was put on the back burner. And then April 18th, you actually started picking up where you left off, with friends, groups, and associations, and whatever was going on with a child or children or a lover. Um, and you started working again, like I said, uh, where you left off. But here it's coming to an opposition uh, on the 26th of April, with Pluto and Aquarius and your fifth house of love, romance, and children. Um, so there is also going maybe going back to something, or someone or a friend um, that may have fallen off your radar. It can be just, just going back to that relationship, and that feels, good for you. It's you're an air sign. Leo's a fire sign, so there's some camaraderie here. Air uplifts fire, uh, and fire really, engulfs the air in warmthness. So it could be a special friend or friends or groups that's really building up your confidence about something as well. And but there's this opposition. It's really weird because it's almost like an X. If you put uh, like Mars in Leo. Leo is your 11th house, but it also natally rules your fifth house or natally rules the fifth house of love, romance, and children. And then it's opposing Pluto in Aquarius. And Aquarius for you is your fifth house of love, romance, and children. And then Aquarius natally rules the 11th house of friends, groups, and associations. Very interesting for Libras that it's switched up like that. So this is all about friends, groups, associations, the way you want to be seen amongst uh, these people or this camaraderie, but it is wholly dependent on something very empowering about a romance or child or children, um, or a creative project. Very, very interesting, Libra. There's a lot of Libras that are becoming grandmothers because there's something of a next generation here that's playing out, which is very exciting. Uh, Many of you are getting married and learning, and many others are learning that they're pregnant or they're far along in their pregnancy, and this opposition may be just um, wanting to know the gender but not wanting to know the gender, wanting to decorate but not wanting to decorate. I mean, it can be as mundane as that, but there is something of an empowerment with Aquarius. It's almost like some Librans have two children or more, and they're just in two separate camps. And there's this Taurus deal that's playing out in this T square. So something about joint finances, maybe alimony, maybe child support, um, maybe taxes, credits, loans, or what have you. So that is playing in the background there, Libra. We also have your ruler, the most important thing for you, Venus. That will be that on the 30th of April will ingress into Aries direct. And Aries is your seventh house of partnerships, business, platonic, intimate, personal. Anyone who knows you really, really well can be considered a partnership. Uh, you might have gone back to a partnership from the past. Again, any kind of partnership, um, because of an agreement or compassion, um, or some kind of a powerful uh, reasoning. And if if the if you were able to survive this retrograde moving forward, if you're together, then this will be solid. Now others, for others, it was, again, it's temporary, because again, out of compassion or an agreement of some kind, um, and both of you are under that understanding that is it's temporary. Again, it's about, there's something about children or creative, something creative playing out in the background. Wow, this one's really interesting. uh, I didn't think it would be this interesting for Libra, but it is. You've got all these important things mixed up in here. In any case, with Venus going direct in Aries, again, Venus, you're being your ruler. Venus attracts love, money, fortune, fame, niceties, diplomacies, uh, and all those finer things in life. Um, so you will be gaining from Venus being in your partnership house in those aspects. If there were problems, things are going to definitely be becoming smooth or smoothed out, whatever you've been having problems with a partnership. And again, for others, um, if this the reviewing readjustments that you've done, if it has reconfirmed that you're just on different paths, that is final as well. um, but yeah, that's the other last aspect I wanted to discuss. But in regards to this Pluto Mars Pluto opposition, it's very interesting for you, Libra, because it's like crisscrosses, and it is definitely about love, romance, children, creative projects, and friends, groups, and associations. Very powerful. Again, you had these oppositions on November 3rd and January 3rd, so you can think back to those times and text, emails, call logs, and maybe it'll jar your memory about something. All right, and that is all. So you can see how important it was, and I wanted to discuss it. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the comments. After I finish this video, again, I'll then talk to you in your May scopes. Take care, Libra. Hi, Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio, first I want to apologize. I failed to upload your mid month to the end of the month scope because I do work full time, but I had mandatory OT overtime, which I could not opt out of. And then all of a sudden, it was Easter um, and family, and I got super busy. I just didn't want to upload uh, a generic or a band aid kind of scope. So just was overwhelmed, and I decided not to do that. So I have your May horoscope that I'm going to be recording, but three aspects, very powerful aspects in April, have to be discussed. At the end of April, that happened, have to be discussed in order to understand your May horoscope. And I tried to combine the both, but it was just getting too confusing. So what I'm doing here is a standalone video on those three very important aspects in April. Discuss them a little bit, and then after I do that, I will be uploading your May horoscopes. So this is a standalone video on the three powerful aspects in April that happened, that have their roots back in the fall. In the beginning of the video, I did put up a zodiac wheel chart uh, to illustrate a T-square that's happened with an opposition. And you can look at that. I think I have them in the slides as well, or I will be having them in the slides. Uh, and then also, I've put up the three aspects, the alignments, and the degrees if you wanted to match it to your natal chart. So let's talk about this T square that's happening with the opposition. So a T square is just like that. If you look at like I said, beginning of the horoscope, that illustration, uh, there is an opposition between Leo and Aquarius, and in the middle of that uh, is the Sun in Taurus. So Mars is in Leo, and Pluto is in Aquarius. Both very, very powerful planets. Mars is the god of war, and it's about getting things done, heat, urgency, and the power and strength you have uh, in being bold and going for it. And Pluto is the god of the underworld. It's very, very powerful, more so than Mars. Mars is fearless. Pluto is just very powerful. And let's discuss where these areas are for you. So Leo is your 10th house of career, status, your reputation, and authority figures. Status is married, not married, single, not single, the mother of so and so, the father of so and so. This, or it can be about your career. Authority figures are bosses. Um, it can be parents. It can be partners. It's anybody who has really some kind of an authority. And Aquarius for you is your fourth house of home, family, parents, your country, your clan, your pride, your patriotism. Now, Leo natally rules your fifth house of love, romance, or natally rules not yours, but for everybody. It rules love, romance, children, creativity, uh, pets, and gambling is in considered in the fifth house as well. But like I said, remember, Leo for you is your 10th house of career and status. But there's something about love, romance, or children playing out in the background. Now, Aquarius, like I said, is your fourth house of home and family and parents. Natally, Aquarius also rules groups, associations, friends, memberships, uh, and your hopes and visions of the future. So that is also playing out in the background in regards to home and family and parents. Now, first, again, in the beginning of the video, I gave you dates. So November 3rd, Mars entered Leo, and there was something about your career, your status, your reputation, or authority figures that took front and center stage. That either there was an opportunity, or you made an opportunity, or something that you were striving for, you were diligently with intensity going for. And then in December, um, something stalled on that, where it just slowed down, or you started reviewing maybe things. And then come January, it just went off the radar. It was on the back burner. Uh, it could have been about a loss of a job, or your own decision to back out of something, because it might have, again, maybe been really intense. And with this, with the retrograde, it might have felt like, well, it's just too much, and you might have retreated to something that you're already comfortable with, or uh, or you decided to take it easy and just uh, chill. And worst case scenario, it might have been, you just wanted to be alone and retreat, and just try to figure things out. Now, as of April 18th, the situation has come back up again, where you're getting the second chance, or picking up where you left off. Uh, the opportunity has come up again, again, in regards to your career status or reputation. Okay. But now there's an opposition. It was perfected on April 26th, but do not worry about the time, the date, the minute, because these are powerful aspects. And this Mars Pluto opposition is the third and final one, and it is the most potent. It's a very, very powerful opposition out of the three. So it is at its zenith, it is at its climax. You're feeling it now. And what it is they're two polar opposites. Leo is right directly in front of Aquarius. So there's these two isms, these two ideologies that are entrenched and will not see eye to eye. Again, it is about your career and status, and it is about your home and family and your parents. Uh, Whereas before, there could have been, or might have been, some kind of negotiation, or to get around this. But this time around, each one is entrenched. And why? Well, because of all these new energies, all these new vibrations that everybody's going through. So everybody's priorities has changed. Even yours, like I mentioned, you most likely went back to something else, or just like gave up, and said, well, maybe I should take it easy more. Um, uh, Something like that. And this opposition that happened is, again, where you got this opportunity again to pick up where you left off. And it might be others who are like, oh, well, yeah, great, but, things have changed now. Uh, yeah, yeah, the situation has changed. Or it could be you that says, well, I like where I'm right now. I don't want to go for it. So it could be something like that. Or it's like, okay, yeah, I'll go for it, but on my terms. And you are not budging, and neither are they. Neither are they. And this opposition is going. It's very powerful. And for you, you are going to be one of the signs that's going to be affected most by this, if not the only sign, uh, or the main important sign that will be really affected by this. Why? Because Mars traditionally is actually your co-ruler, um, and it rules Aries, but also Pluto is your modern ruler. So you're in a unique situation where both of them are looking out for your best interest. So yes, it is intense, but it is also one of the oppositions that I mentioned that is good, uh, is beneficial. And for you, like I mentioned, because both of these planets are your rulers, it is to your benefit, but it's with some kind of urgency, intensity, uh, and seriousness, because, like I mentioned, Mars is the god of war and Pluto is the god of the underworld. One is just fearless, and the other one is just so confident, uh, and almost underhanded. Uh, they're just very, very powerful. So, what this translates for you is you have a decision to make. Um, do you pick up where you left off, or like I mentioned, because you went back to something, you're comfortable. You're like, is it worth it for me? Um, in either case, you are going to come up on top. However, in the meantime, there was a decision, or there is a decision at hand where you have made some kind of a decision, and it might have formed like some kind of a crack, some kind of a fissure, where it might not be obvious maybe to you or maybe to others, but in the background, this fissure is going to start growing and growing and growing over the summer. Why? Again, it's because we're going into these new energies, new vibrations, and the more time goes by, the more we're going to be busy with these new things, where that's where the fissure is becoming wider, uh, and people are sort of making a decision in secret or in their own hearts, and just playing it out. But again, for you, you're in a special situation where either way, you are going to come up on top, which is fantastic. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's going to be very satisfying. Dare I say, maybe even liberating for you. Uh, Now, we do have the T square in the middle of this opposition, and the T square is the Sun in Taurus. Taurus, for you, Scorpio, is your seventh house of partnerships, all kinds of partnerships, personal, business, platonic. Um, Anybody really that knows you really, really well would be considered a partner. Your mother can be a partner, your sister can be a partner, your uncle can be a partner. Um, so you're doing your annual review in regards to uh, partnerships, because the sun is always in Taurus at this time of year, but this year it's different, and it feels like a make or break kind of moment. Uh, why? Again, it's because of these new energies, and because uh, Uranus, after 7 long years, will be leaving your partnership house in June. So this new moon in Taurus is either a new opportunity, maybe a new relationship, um, or it's the seeding of the hopes of this new partnership, but on your terms. Um, and but you can feel it now because the sun is now, and it's heralding, preluding to when Taurus leaves. I'm sorry, Uranus leaves Taurus in June. So it's preluding to this partnership that you want going forward. And your partnerships have been shocking, to say maybe the least, surprising. And you've either decided that, that just completely fulfills you, uh, or you've just had enough of these shocks and surprises. So that's what I'm saying in regards to seeding the hopes of a partnership. You're going to be attracting what you want after June, when Uranus leaves Taurus. Uranus's job was to shake up your partnerships, and all that. So, with this opposition, there is something about uh, partnerships, and most importantly, about your values about a partnership. Or it could be simply, mundanely, about maybe money, or a job or income, because Taurus natally rules the second house of job, income, and value system. So, it might be a business partner, a new venture. And again, you you're getting the second opportunity, um, that you almost had back in November, December, but things happened, and it just was almost within reach. I'm sorry, I'm laughing with you, Scorpio. I've been in that situation too, but it just slipped away. But here you get the second chance, and from what it looks like, for most of you, again, it might be a business venture. And for others, of course, it can be an engagement, a marriage, um, or a breakup. Like I mentioned, there is this crack that's happening in regards to Mars Pluto opposing Mars and Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius, and with this T square, with whatever you're going through, it might not a partnership might not be able to handle this opposition. Otherwise, it could be the opposite. It could be a very solid partnership forming here. Um, because with the opposition, that outlet is the Sun in Taurus, even though it's a fixed T square. You know, the squares are stressful and there's conflict involved. Uh, but you're sitting pretty here with all these three sides. Uh, so it could be, and Uranus is also in Taurus, so there might be a surprising factor in regards to partnerships. So yes, in this opposition, there's some kind of a decision that is being made, and maybe made in the background or within your own psyche, or others can be doing that. But there's some kind of a crack happening, and it is what it is. It is where you need to be. Um, the reprieve, the relief, the reconcilement, the resolution will come about sometime in August. Uh, because if you do want to make this work, once Mars leaves Leo, it'll enter Virgo. And that is your 11th house of your hopes, visions of the future, of how you want to be seen in the future. So that'll give you a push. And of course, this opposition will be releasing. And then sometime in August, there's some kind of a reprieve or a relief. Now, the other aspect is uh, Venus will ingress into Aries on April 30th. It'll still be in its shadow until May 16th, but I'll discuss that in your May scope. And Aries for you rules your sixth house of routine, of health, scheduling, of taking care of someone, uh, or small pets or animals. So there's also, well, for some of you, there might have been a health issue in the last few weeks, and there you might have not known what it's about. But now that Venus is going direct and ingressing back into Aries direct, you will suddenly know what it's about. Or if you've been having scheduling conflicts, or now it will start getting smoothed over, because Venus attracts love, money, fortune, fame, niceties, diplomacy, and all that. So whatever conflicts or issues you were having with health, routine, scheduling, that is going to come around and smooth out also in your favor. So, in regards to you, Scorpio, you're actually sitting pretty. It might not seem that way currently right now because of this really stressful T square, fixed T square. It's not even a mutable T square; it's a fixed T square, and with this opposition. But like I mentioned, Mars and Pluto are both in your corner, and actually the helping factor, I will tell you, the stronger planet is Pluto. So it's currently in Aquarius, so that is your fourth house of home, family, and your parents. They are going to be huge supporting actors with this career and status thing, even though they're you're having problems with these two polar opposites, entrenched ideologies, but hang in there. Okay, so I just wanted to note that. Also, if you remember, in your April scope, I did mention that we will be wrapping up whatever was going on between January and March in April, especially the end of April, of the activities of January and March, and an extension of what happened last fall. So this is the finale, and because May will be going on to the new. All right, Scorpio, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I answer all the questions. And after this video, hopefully in not too long, I'll be uploading your Mayscope. So I'll talk to you then. Take care. Sagittarius. Hello, Sagittarius. First, let me apologize. I am so sorry that I failed to upload your mid month to the end of the month scope. I work full time, but I know you guys are sick of hearing me say that, but I also had overtime that was mandatory, and I just couldn't opt out. And then all of a sudden, Easter was here. So I became very busy and quite overwhelmed, and I did not want to upload just a band-aid kind of scope. So now that I've written out your May horoscope and I was ready to record it, um, it's very important to understand a few aspects that happened at the end of April to understand May. And I tried to do it both in one video, but after several attempts, it was just too confusing. So what I'm doing here is this is a standalone video about these three main potent aspects that happened in April. I'll discuss them and what they mean for you. And when you have that understanding, and when I'm finished uploading this, I will upload then your May horoscope. So that's what's going on. So let's start. So in the beginning of this video, I did put a visual of the zodiac wheel and illustrated one of the most intense aspects, which is a opposition between Leo and Aquarius, and a T-square smack in the middle of it, a fixed T-square, let alone with the sun in Taurus. And it's illustrated on that zodiac wheel. It shows you what a T-square is. It's like a T. I also, in the beginning of the video, uploaded a visual of the three main aspects with the degrees if you want to match it to your natal chart and see if those degrees hit, as well as I gave you some dates regarding Mars in Leo, entering, retrograding, and coming back in. I might have them in the slides too. You'll probably see them loop. So let's get down to the nitty gritty and figure out what this is about. I'm sorry, I didn't do one thing. So let me just do that right here. So that's 1, 12, 11, 10, 9. Okay, so we're going to do that. I apologize. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. All right. First, there is a new moon in Taurus. Taurus, for you, Sagittarius, is in your house of health, habits, routines, scheduling, taking care of someone, and small animals, pets. Um, it is the house of chaos and gossip, as well as we call it. Taurus also natally rules the second house of job, income, and value system. So you're doing your annual review here, as the sun is always in Taurus at this time of the year. But this year it's special in two aspects. One is Uranus is in Taurus and will be leaving Taurus in June. So the erratic shift on a dime kind of schedule and routine that's been hitting you in the last 7 years is going to stop. So that's what you're reviewing. And we have a new moon in Taurus. So you either have a new opportunity or you're seeding the hopes of what you want to, your schedule, your routine to be about. And again, Taurus rules the second house of job and income and values. So that's in the mix. So this has to do about a job, probably, most likely for many of you. And for some of you, it's mostly about values, who you will and will not sell out for. The priority is about that. Some of you are working, maybe you have your job, you're working. Some of you might be working more than one job, maybe a gig thing and another job. And some of you are between jobs. You're not working, or you're doing sporadic jobs or something like that. But yeah, there's something about a schedule, a routine that's shaping up here. Now, Taurus is also involved in this T-square. So let's talk about the T-square, the opposition with the T-square. So we have Mars in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius. Leo, for you, is your ninth house of higher education, foreigners, long distance travel. If it's not long distance travel, it's travel in the mind. It's about philosophy. It's about publishing and the World Wide Web. Leo also natally rules the fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity. So that is playing out in the background as well for you, Sagittarius, in regards to your ninth house of foreigners or higher education, and that. Now, It's opposing Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius for you is your third house of communication, communication devices, commuting, your modes of commuting, social media, siblings, cousins, extended family, um, vision, eyesight, language. It's your need to be heard. Um, Also, natally, Aquarius rules friends, groups, associations, memberships of any kind, um, camaraderie, and so forth. So that is also playing out in the background um, of your third house. Now, and then of course we have that T square with the Sun in Taurus. So this opposition is the third one. So let's go back a little bit to when Mars first entered Leo back in November. Um, and Leo is your fellow fire sign. So something very exciting, something with heat and urgency and intensity that you started with. That yeah was very um, firing up for you. Um, and you felt like, yes, I am where I need to be, because with Sages also, um, you Sages are very very optimistic, go happy lucky sign, um, they're everybody's friend, but and Sages have been um, getting a lot of their fire damped down, and most recently within the last maybe 2 3 years, because we had Saturn in Pisces. And that's your fourth house of home and family, your safe space, and that has put a damper on you, as well as Pluto in Capricorn, your second house of job and income and value system, really did a number on Sages, really dampened, slowed down your fire. Whereas it was almost discouraging, and you might have been exploited if it was a job or your value system. You're a very, like I said, a very fun, optimistic sign, and very innocent in the sense of values. You trust in you trust in people, and you're not afraid to be vulnerable. And somehow that was exploited, where it really, really hurt you. So it's something of once bitten, twice shy for Sagittarius, uh, where in November, when Mars entered Leo, and this very uplifting situation happened for you, it was like, okay, pinch me, is this real? Um, and there was that first opposition um, between Mars and Leo in November, and then we had another one in January, and this is the third and most powerful um, of the three that's happening. Um, it happened. It was perfected on April 26th. But it, like I've said before, do not fixate on the date, the time, the minute. This is not about that. These are huge energies. So we are at its climax. It's at its zenith. We are feeling it right now, and we will be feeling it for a long time to come. Um, but I'll explain more later on that. So yeah, you started on this very exciting opportunity, again, about foreigners or higher education, or traveling or what have you. Um, and then something seemed to, like, not fizzle out, but seemed to stall in December, uh, where you either was like, okay, I'm here, and um, I'm being asked to, like, maybe prove myself again. And is it like going back to the same old? You started reviewing how far along you have come, and there seemed to be problems, not outright problems, but somehow problems in the background that made you, like, stop and think, and about, where is this going? Where am I going? Um, I thought I was here, but it doesn't look like I'm here. It looks like there's a few more steps, a lot more steps to get to where I am. But I'm here. It's like it's right within my arms, my hands, but it is so far away. It's that type of a feeling. And then come January, it just fell off the radar, or became really difficult to manage, or it was put on hold, whatever this is. Um, And that was because Mars then, Mars retrograded in December. That's when you started realizing there's problems, or there's more to it. And then in January, Mars retrograded all the way back out of Leo and into Cancer, where that's why it just fell off the radar. But this April 18th, Mars ingressed back into Leo direct. So where you left off, you started picking up again. Okay, but again, there's something that's being asked of you to complete or do before you are there again on solid footing. And for many of you, it has to do again with a job situation, money or income, or and that can be very disparaging to a Sagittarius, because it's somehow related to your values or how you are being valued. That's how you're viewing it. In any case, this is has built up to this opposition between Mars and Leo and Pluto in Aquarius. And um, so there's something about higher education, foreigners, traveling, publishing, that's that you are you're entrenched in, because you're going to relate to Leo more than you are going to relate to Aquarius. I mean, Aquarius is still a good sign for you because it's an air sign. Air and fire is very good, and you have been seeing a lot of progress in regards to your third house of communication, of commuting, uh, of siblings, cousins, social media, and all that. Very progressive um, jumps here. You have many of you moved. And you are enjoying where you're at. But you're going to be relating more to Leo because that's your fellow fire sign. So there's something here that you really want to achieve. Um, and you wanted to achieve that in, like I said, November, December. But then that opportunity almost seemed to be snatched away from you in January. And you've waited this long, but April 18th, that fire became lit under you to get that, to get what you want. And like I said, what's discouraging for you is that, oh God, again, I have to go through this again, or start over again. It's like you've been pushed back 2, 3 steps in order, you've gone one big step forward, but you've been almost like pushed back 2, 3 steps. And it's like, how do I get there? And that's what Mars does. Mars asks you, what do you want? And you say, I want that. And Mars is like, hop on, let's go get it. Fearless. And that's the fire that's going to be lit under you. It's going to give you that fearless fire of achieving that goal. And your only enemy is the discouragement that has been not your fault, that has been almost ingrained in you. That is going to be your only enemy. Because this time, like I'm mentioning, the twice bitten, once shy, don't be shy. Go forward, because this time you will jump these 3 steps that you've been pushed back, and then jump again another 3 steps. So you'll be 6 steps even forward, and then another three. You'll just see it'll just go one by one by one, and it'll exemplify exactly why people say Sagittarians are the luckiest sign of the zodiac. So that's what's going on with this. Now, with this entrenchment, like I said, this opposition between your ninth house and your third house of communication or community, whatever, for a sliver of you, whatever opposition that comes here and whatever is entrenched here might form a crack that might grow into like a larger fissure over the next few summer months. But again, you're not like the other signs. Both Leo and Aquarius are good to your sign. It's if you were a water sign, it might have been a little different. Um, so for you, your outlet, that T-square, even though it's a square, is Taurus. So something about routine, job, and what have you. For some of you, it might be really very mundane in as far as maybe it's commuting, maybe it's something about a car and um, uh, ninth house, higher education. Maybe you're living off campus and you need a car, or some kind of commuting. It's a mode of commuting. You're trying to figure that out. It can be as mundane as that, or it can be, you're taking a speech class and you're just deathly afraid of communicating, in front of a large audience. It might be that kind of opposition. I mean, it can be as mundane as that because, like I said, both Aquarius and Leo are very favorable to your sign. But if it is serious, again, it is something that's being asked of you that that you think it feels like being pushed back. And I'm not saying to push, because this is entrenchment. These are two powerful signs. Mars is powerful, so is Pluto is even more powerful. So do not push back, but do not be discouraged because you will be leapfrogged into something. You will jump these hurdles and it'll come fast and furious. The last aspect I wanted to discuss that's important is Venus. Will ingress into Aries on the 30th of April. It still will be in its shadow until May 16th because it retrograded. But, excuse me, um, in Aries, yes. And Aries for you, Sagittarius, is your fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity. Very, very important house for many Sagittarians currently. Because some Sagittarians, with Venus being retrograde, really tested this area for you with a romance or even a child. Some of you, and God forbid, you might have lost a child, I mean, during pregnancy, and you are planning again, or you might again be getting pregnant. But for others, it might have tested a romance, and if you've survived those few weeks with Venus being retrograde, and now that it's going direct, it can be very solid. And also, Venus going direct, it will smooth out any kinks, any problems that there was with a romance or a child or a creative project. It might, again, be about school and a creative project. Um, but Venus attracts love, fortune, fame, niceties, diplomacies, and all that. So you will be seeing the benefits of that um, in regards to your fifth house of love and romance. And Aries also natally rules the first house of image. So there's something about a romance, or maybe a child that you want. The image of it is very important to you, or is it's playing out in the background of this love romance or child thing. And finally, I did mention in your April scope that this opposition, or the ending of May, this T-square opposition, will be the finale, the cleaning up of, the ending of what we've been working on since January through March, beginning of April. And in extension, it started last fall. So this is the finale. That's why I'm saying there's some kind of decision, ending, snap, crack, pop, snack, crackle, like that cereal. That is setting something behind. It's we're done with that. Uh, God, yes, we're done. We're done with it. Um, and we May will be getting into the new, and that will be in your May scope. Okay, Sagittarius. I know I went way overboard with you, but I know um, this has been a really powerful thing for you. So I hope I gave you some answers. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I answer all questions, and as soon as I finish this, and as soon as I finish recording your May horoscopes, I will upload that right after this is uploaded. All right, take care. Hi, Capricorn. My favorite sign. Capricorn, uh, this is a standalone video in regards to three major aspects that we had at the end of April. Um, well, first, I want to apologize. I failed to upload your mid month to the end of the month horoscope. I work, but I had mandatory overtime. I could not opt out. And then Easter, all of a sudden, came up. Uh, Ashamed to say, I'm a Christian Orthodox too. So it was like, yeah, I was very overwhelmed, and I just did not want to upload like a band-aid type of a video. Um, so now that I've written out your May horoscope, what I wanted to do to understand your May horoscope, you have to understand what happened the last week of April. This tense T-square and opposition that we have. And I tried to combine it in one video with your May horoscope, but it became too confusing. So that's what I'm doing here. Is I'm just doing a standalone video on three major aspects that happened in April that you need to understand in order to, when you listen to your May scope, that it'll make sense. So in the beginning of the video, I have put up a zodiac wheel, and I've illustrated what a T-square is with the opposition. The T-square is a fixed T-square in the middle of this opposition. And another thing in the beginning of the video is I've outlined the three major aspects with the degrees if you wanted to match it to your natal chart to see if any of those degrees apply. Um, uh, and I'll go through all, those three. But for you, it's probably going to be a short video because you are not really going to be affected as much about this T-square and opposition. It's not really life or death for you, or it's not going to be very dramatic for you because it's really the fire and air signs that are that are crossroads here. But you have some type of vested interest. So in any case, let me just start off first with the good aspect, which is the Sun in Taurus, and that is your annual review, because the Sun is always in Taurus at this time of the year, and Taurus is your fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, and pets. And Taurus also natally rules the second house of job, income, and your value system, or the value system, what you will and will not sell out for. So that's playing out in the background in as far as your love, romance, or a child, children, or a creative project. And we have a new moon in Taurus. We had a new moon in Taurus on the 27th of April. And this is just a new opportunity, either a new opportunity or seeding the hopes of a new direction in as far as your love, romance, and children or creativities, any creative projects that will be going on. So that is the good news. That for you is, it's sitting in a good aspect to your sign. So no problems there. And the other thing is Venus will ingress direct motion into Aries. And Aries is your fourth house of home, family, your parents, your physical living situation, and your country, your pride, your clan. And if you've been having issues in the last few weeks or so, now it will be smoothing it out. Love, Venus attracts love, money, fame, fortune, niceties, diplomacies, and all that. So if you've had any problems, that will be smoothing out here. But for many of you, it actually Venus going retrograde with your home and family, it hasn't been as bad. You've reached some kind of a new understanding or compromise or something new that has strengthened this bond. And again, like I've mentioned many times for you, a matriarchal figure, a mother figure, maybe an older sister or something is really backing you up in some way, and you have that stability. So that is good now, especially even with Venus going retrograde. There's some kind of money again, or new exciting phase with your home and family, and that's going to grow and enlarge us and become better and better as Neptune is also here. Uh, Now let's talk about the opposition. So Mars is in Leo. Leo for you is your eighth house of joint finances, intimacy, inheritance, taxes, government benefits, the mortgage, and all that. And natally, Leo also rules love, romance, and children and creativity. So that's playing out in the background in regards to joint finances or intimacy or taxes or government benefits. Now, Mars in Leo is opposing Pluto in Aquarius. And Aquarius for you is your second house of job, income, and your value system. And you have started something new here since November. So many, many, many of you have started a new job or a new position or a promotion. And that's becoming larger and better and more stable. Um, but it's going fast for you now. For Capricorns, the less drama, the better. But it's all about money, 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 money. So there was some kind of a wake up call back in November, when Mars first entered Leo. So there was some sort of heat, urgency, intensity in regards to intimacy or joint finances, inheritance, and what have you. And then in December, it slowed down for some sort of a reason, and you started reviewing, and it's about hard work for you. And you don't mind that. It's just that you want to see results. Whereas others, it'll be just like, it might be something like, uh, I want it now, I deserve it now. It's not that way for you, because like, you're slow and methodical in climbing a social ladder. So you don't mind the hard work, but you do want to see results. Um, but then in January, that just fell off the radar, um, and you started, something, uh, going back either to something else, um, or it didn't matter as much. Um, but then April 18th, Mars, ingressed back into Leo, going direct, and you picked up where you left off in regards to joint finances, intimacy. Um, there is a small snag here for Capricorns, um, in regards to joint finances, intimacy, how others value you, um, and your own value system, your own income. Um, that's where the opposition is. But again, for you, it's more of numbers rather than feelings or drama or being sucked into that. You can shut it off. You can walk away, because you have this built-in radar that, you can smell drama, and you are able to shut it off and walk away, and um, not get dragged into it. But there is something here that you're invested in, or vested in, um, about bringing two opposites or two polarities, um, to some type of an agreement. And that's where the problem is you can see that both these sides are very much entrenched in their values and their thinking, in their isms, idealisms, ideologies, fanaticalisms, um, any kind of isms. It's like our political party, like, the far left Democrats and the far right Republicans. It's there is no compromising. Each one wants it their way, and there's some kind of a vest you haven't you have a vested interest in these two, and both these two are sort of like tugging at you. Um, to it has something to do with like, manning up or womaning up, some kind of I don't want to say responsibility again, because it's, this T square opposition is really not uh, that, um, life or death situation for you as it is to others. But it is there, and that's what you're dealing with. And both these sides, though, look to you for some kind of, mediation, or bringing it together, and that's what's at front of your mind is, do I want to go there, and get that deeply involved, because you'd rather really concentrate on work more. Mm. And for other signs, you may be involved with other signs that, are seeing it like a life and death situation, or if it doesn't happen now, it's going to crack, and there's going to be a fissure, and this fissure is going to get wider and wider, in the long run. There's some kind of a fear. Um, but again, for you, it's not as intense. But I just wanted to explain that that's what happened during the last, week of April, and we are feeling this, intensity, right now. It's at its climax. It's at its zenith. Even though it happened on the 26th, it perfected. It's not about the hour, the minute, or the day. These are powerful, powerful aspects that will reverberate in the many weeks and months to come. We will not actually have a reprieve of this Mars Pluto opposition until July, August, when Mars leaves Leo and enters Virgo. So if it's people around you that are acting up, it is what it is about that. Um, and if you remember in your April scope, I did mention that the events of April, especially this Mars Pluto opposition, will be making like some sort of a break or wrap up of the events of May or January through March, first part of April. And in extension, it started back in the fall. So it's going to close that off as we enter May, and May we start just anew. So um, that's what I did say it was about, and that's why I'm explaining this part of the scope for you guys in this dedicated video. So that's about it for you, Capricorn, and you are also playing some kind of a waiting game. There's your because of Taurus and it natally ruling, the second house of values, but it is your fifth house of love and romance. You are like testing or weighing up or valuing or re-evaluating something about your love, romance, and children, uh, and money, and the help, the support you're expending here. That's why I said you have this vested interest in this. Okay, in Capricorn, that is it for this scope. And after I finish all the signs for this scope, um, dedicated scope, I will be recording and uploading your May horoscopes. I missed you guys, so I will talk to you hopefully very soon with the May horoscopes. Take care of yourselves. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. Take care. Hi, Aquarius. Long time no talk. um, Missed you guys. First of all, I want to apologize for failing to upload the mid-month to the end of the month scope for you guys. I do work full time, but I had mandatory OT where I could not opt out. And then all of a sudden, it was like, yeah, we're going to church tomorrow. It's Easter. And I was like, what? And so I got really busy with that and family and friends. And I was just overwhelmed. And I did not want to do a Band-Aid kind of a scope for the mid-month. So, um, forgive me for that. Now, I did write out your May horoscope, and but in order to understand May, there's three very important aspects that happened at the end of April that you need to understand before you can understand your May horoscope. And I briefly touched on that in the April horoscope, but I wanted to go into detail about these three main aspects. And I tried to make it into one scope with your May horoscope, but it got way too confusing. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a standalone video on these three major aspects at the end of April. And then once I finish that, I will be recording your May horoscope and uploading that. So that's the disclosure. In the beginning of the video, I did put up an illustration of a zodiac wheel illustrating a T-square that is one of the major aspects with Mars-Pluto opposition. Also, I listed the three major aspects that I'll be discussing on another page with the degrees. So if you want to, that's also in the beginning of the video. So if you want to match those degrees to anything in your natal chart to see where it hits, I think it will. These two illustrations will also be in the slideshow, like looping. But yeah, those are in the beginning of the video if you wanted to take snapshots of those. So first, we do have the sun in Taurus, and that is going to be part of this fixed T-square. And Taurus for you is your fourth house of home, family, your parents, your physical living space. So it can be an apartment or a shared, living kind of deal. It is your country, your clan, your pride, your patriotism. Um, and Taurus natally rules the second house of job, income, and value system. So there's something about a job or value system or income is playing out in the background in as far as your home, family, or parents. We also, so it's your annual review because every year at this time the sun is in Taurus. But this year it's significant because there is a new moon in Taurus that happened on April 27th. So either a new opportunity or you're seeding the hopes of something new about home and family here. That's one significance. And the other significance about it, which is relating to that, is that Uranus, your ruler, is in Taurus. Uh, so you've had this instability or surprising factor in regards to home and family and parents, and maybe a job, income, or value system that's been happening for the last 7 years. Um, and Uranus will be leaving Taurus in June. So you will be having this stability here starting in June. And that's what you're either this new opportunity with this new moon, or you're seeding the hopes for this stable way that you want your home and family and your parents to be going forward. So that's the significance of it. The other thing is, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the Sun in Taurus is part of the fixed T-square with the Mars and Pluto opposition. The other, and I'll explain that last. The other thing that's happening is that we have Venus ingressing back into Aries, direct motion this time. And Aries is your third house of communication, communication devices, commuting, modes of commuting, siblings, cousins, extended family, social media. Vision and eyesight is here too. And language, it's your need to be heard. Um, Also, Aries natally rules image, appearance, and profile. So there is something about your third house that you are concerned about the image it sets. That's playing out in the background. And if you've been having any problems, sorry, that's my pug. Sorry. If you've been having any problems in regards to your third house the last few weeks, it was because Venus was going retrograde. There was a great brand new idea or opportunity or talk about it, um, but then it sort of stalled, and you started reviewing that, and maybe you had problems when it was retrograding. Now that it is ingressed into Aries in forward direction, those problems will be smoothing out. Venus attracts love, money, fortune, and fame, niceties, diplomacy, and the good things of life. So that'll be coming your way in regards to the third house. So any problems with communication devices, or your car, or commuting, or cousins or siblings, that'll be smoothing out. And many of you may have had problems with neighbors or the community. And when I say community, I'm talking about a very close knit type of community. Again, that should be smoothing out. Some of you could have had maybe a love interest within your neighborhood or short distance travel. Um, if you have survived this retrograde with Venus and Aries, now going forward, it will get stronger and stronger. If it has not survived, it is the ending of that um, getting back together, because you can see both of you are on opposite sides of that spectrum, and there's resolution going forward. And now the best for last, the most important for last. I left especially for your sign because you're the main character of the show and the most potent of the show. It is the famous third and final opposition between Mars in Leo and Pluto in your sign. And if you remember, I mentioned in your April scope that the events, and especially this Mars Pluto opposition at the end of April, will be making a clean break, a wrap up of January through March events, which in extension started out back in um, the late fall. So Leo, for you, Aquarius, is a very important house. It is your seventh house of partnerships. And that is intimate, personal, platonic, most definitely business. But anyone who knows you really, really well can be considered a partner. Your parent can be a partner. Your son or daughter can be a partner. A friend can be a partner. So platonic partnerships as well. Um, and back in November, there was some type of heat, urgency, um, or action in regards to a partnership for you, Aquarius. And that was November. But then December, something, you got busy, or something stalled with this partnership, or you started reviewing, like, is this where I want my partnership to be? Um, uh, and then come January, it just fell off the radar. Um, and it was, you know, at the back of mind, but it fell off the radar. You just became engulfed and busy with other things. And then April 18th, Mars left Cancer and ingressed into Leo. So that situation has come up back again. That opportunity has come up back again. Um, Now, this T square is a tense aspect. It's some kind of a conflict or something like that. And it is in the middle of this opposition between you and Leo. Um, well, first of all, Pluto being in your sign, Aquarius, I've mentioned this before. You have um, this power persona to you. You have this allure that's significant. Um, but it's not like it was in with Pluto in Capricorn. It wasn't. It's not as tangible as that. It's something alluring. It's something very very powerful, um, and and it is because you have um, gone through Pluto in Capricorn. That was your 12th hidden house, your psyche. You've gone on this incredibly heavy, um, serious, intense journey, 18 years in regards of your psyche, uh, of your past, of your hidden self. So yes, you have this complete confidence now of who and what you are. And with Pluto having entered your sign in November, that's what it's displaying. It's displaying that confidence, that cool aura, or what have you. And um, your sign is you are ruled by shocking Uranus, the planet of shock and surprise and electricity. So that magnetism. Um, and Aquarians are very famous for being aloof. um, yes, you are all about the group and the good of all, but there's this also hierarchy within these groups, and you are the top dog, even though you don't like to be the center of attention, of being called out as the top dog, because you know what problems that can cause, but nevertheless you are. Um, and and with dealing with different types of personalities and what have you, that's why you display this seemingly non-interested view of taking sides and what have you. So it makes you sort of aloof. With Uranus also, ruling you, there's this quirkiness about you. And what this opposition Aquarius is about is um, your partners, or a partner feels that you are too disengaged. Um, your own Aquarian personality aside of being aloof or confident in that aloofness, it's about they just feel you are not maybe putting effort into something or a partnership, or that you're disengaged. And this has a lot to do with Aquarians are also called the genius of the zodiac. Why? Because they're very future oriented, very forward thinking. You guys head out and rest of everybody else. You gather this knowledge and you perfect it, and you come and bring it to the masses. But it's about the future. So there's this futuristic mindset that you. It's not that you're disengaged. It's because um, you know what will happen, and when you need to take action, or when you need to talk or steer something, and when it's useless uh, at times to do that. Um, so there's this time factor um, that you have your own. You understand time, whereas yes, like I said, it's you reserve your energy about something that's going to happen in the future, um, because you're reserving your energy, but also because it will not make sense at this time. It'll make sense at a future time. And that is one of the factors that your partners do not understand, and that they feel that you're disengaged, or being too aloof, or not interested. And that could be farther from the truth for you, but that is how you are personally, and also depending on your moon sign, though. But Pluto, giving you this aura um, of power and aloofness is um, doubling that energy, and that's why your partners are like maybe sometimes panicking or yeah, becoming fearful or frustrated that you seem like "Ah, this is not that important," and for them it's like a life and death kind of type of situation. So that's where the opposition is. The other thing is another reason for this opposition from partners might be again because you're displaying this aura of power. You're attracting um, mm, uh, energy from others that the simple explanation would be like jealousy, um, or or like this energy aura is inviting some kind of a conflict, a duel, or some sort. And again, it's not that way for you, and that's why it seems like you're standoffish or aloof. Um, and what you're in there is no problem for you really, Aquarius. You're in a position of power. I've mentioned this before. This Mars Pluto opposition um, is not going to be harmful for you because you hold the cards. Um, Mars is powerful, yes, he's the god of war. Um, but Pluto is more powerful in as far as being strategic. Mars is only one direction, one objective. It is to go after what it wants. Um, so, for example, it is since Mars is in Leo and Leo is your seventh house, Mars will tell you, what do you want in this partnership? And you'll say, I want that. And Mars is like, all right, let's go after it. Let's go get it. He's fearless. So he's very powerful. But Pluto is more strategic, more, he's the god of the underworld. He knows everything. He possesses the power of life and death. And so he's much, much more powerful. And I would confidently say he's the most powerful planet in as far as astrology is concerned, and that's just my opinion. So yes, you are sitting in this very powerful position and this aura, but I just wanted to explain why you're having maybe confrontations with partners, and why they're feeling this way. Um, and again, it's not your fault. Well, for most of you, I mean, a lot of you can be taking advantage of this too, but I just wanted to explain that. And for those of you who want to take that opportunity and that step um, to engage and to explain it to partners, that's what's going. You already know yourself, but understanding how your partners are feeling um, might be helpful. Um, and at the risk of repeating myself again, um, these aspects are very important as it wraps up our endeavors from January to March, early April, and an extension. They started out in late fall, and there is a clean break here because this for other Aquarians it might be an ending, but not a clean ending. There's like a crack, is how I'm describing it. There's like this fissure because both these parties are very much entrenched. Pluto in your sign, heavy duty, um, confident, powerful, and Mars and Pluto, fearless, powerful. And I'm likening them to our political parties, like the far right and the far left. They will not budge. There is no budging. They're entrenched in their isms, in their ideologies, and both feel they're absolutely right, even with talking and negotiating, trying to negotiate. There is principles here, and this is, like I said, the third, final, and the most powerful opposition between Mars and Pluto. Um, so for some of you, there is going to be something that cracks between you and a partner, where again, it's not a clean ending, clean crack. It is something of like a fissure that's going to grow and grow apart during the summer with other new energies coming in and new events and all that. I'm describing it like you're driving and there's a pebble and it taps your windshield and it a small round crack. And then as you're driving, in these new energies and going about, and the car is vibrating, these these cracks are forming larger and larger lines um, in time. So for some of you, it will be that crack. Um, because again, both of these two sides are very popular, very powerful, um, and very entrenched. And for some, yeah, no amount of explanation will do. But I would be remiss not to have mentioned all this because there is some important investment that both you may have and your partner. I mean, it is, after all, your partnership house. Um, Also, to mention that Leo natally rules your fifth house of love. I'm sorry, not your, but natally it rules, generally, it rules the fifth house of love, romance, children, creativity, creative projects, and pets. But it is your seventh house. So that love and romance and children is playing out in the background. And Pluto in your sign, again, it is your first house of image, of your persona, how you appear. It can be also as mundane as your physical appearance. Many Aquarians will be getting married, so your style might change. Um, Many of you will be getting pregnant, so again, it might be as mundane as um, your wardrobe changing or your style changing, and there may be a conflict with a partner, or just a concern or whatever. Like, you're pregnant now, don't wear high heels or something like that. Or if you're the man, that might be what you're concerned about for your partner, or what have you. Um, but yeah, I wanted to cover all those bases because this is quite important, and this is an important house for you. And there will be some type. This will go. This is a powerful opposition, so this will like reverberate for many weeks and months to come. I foresee. I mean, it's separating, so it's not going to be as intense for a journey of these 2 months. We'll be busy with other things, but a reprieve, a resolution, a reconcilement, or just simply it not mattering anymore will come in July, August, especially when Mars leaves Leo and enters Virgo. Um, and Virgo for you, it would be your eighth house of intimacy. So that's what it is. I took a special long time for you because you are the star of the show, and this was important. All right. So I hope I made clear what this final Pluto opposition is. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comments. I answer all questions. And as soon as I'm done with this video, I will start recording your May scopes. Take care, Aquarius. Pisces, my other favorite sign. Hi, Pisces. I missed you guys. Long time no talk. Um, First, I want to apologize for not for failing to upload either mid-month to the end of the month scope for you guys. But I do work full time, and I had mandatory OT where I could not opt out. And then all of a sudden, my family's like, "Okay, what time do we pick you up for church tomorrow? It's Easter," and I was like, "Oh, whoa!" So I've been very overwhelmed, and I just did not want to upload a shitty, sorry, uh, or a band-aid kind of a scope, and I opted to just leave it for the May uh, scope, and I have written that out. But in order to understand the May horoscope, there are three major aspects that happened at the end of April that you need to understand a little bit to make sense out of May, and they're very powerful. And I did mention them briefly in your April horoscope, but I wanted to go into a little bit more detail so you understand what's at stake. So I tried to combine both in the May horoscope, but it just was too confusing. So I chose to do this standalone dedicated video to the Mars Pluto opposition and T-square in Taurus for each sign. And when I finish this, I will be recording your May horoscope and uploading that after. Um, Now, Pisces, in the beginning of this video, I have put up a zodiac wheel illustrating the T-square that's happening with the Sun in Taurus. That is in the middle of a Mars-Pluto opposition. So we have a fixed T-square with a Mars-Pluto opposition. Yikes, very, very powerful. Um, and then also I put up um, the three major aspects that I'm going to be talking about with the degrees, and you can match it to your natal chart to see if it matches anything in your natal chart. And I think I'll also have them in the slideshow, so they'll be on a loop for you to view. but they're in the beginning of the video if you wanted to take a snapshot of that. But um, having said all that, Pisces, you are not really going to um, be feeling this very much. It is not really going to affect you as much as it will other signs that are um, that it will feel like a life or death sort of a deal for you. You know, none of your ruling planets are involved, but there might be some type of investment. So I'll go through these three aspects and explain them to you. But it'll probably be short for you because again, um, it's not really that major for you. What will be major will be end of May, June, July, because there's a huge shift that's happening. In any case, first the sun is in Taurus. It is forming that T-square. Taurus for you is your third house of communication, communication devices, commuting, modes of commuting, your neighborhood, your neighbors, community, but a very close, small knit community. It is social media. It is siblings, cousins, extended family, vision and eyesight, and language, your need to be heard. That's what Taurus rules for you. Natally, Taurus also rules the second house of job, income, and value system. So that is somehow playing out in the background for you, Pisces, in regards to your third house of communication and commuting. And you are reviewing this. It's your annual review. Every year at this time, the sun is in Taurus. But this year, it's a little different and a little special because, one, it's part of this T square in the middle of this Mars Pluto opposition. And the second is because we have a new moon. We had a new moon on April 27th in Taurus. So, some kind of a new opportunity, or you're seeding the hopes of something new to happen here. You have I've been having there's been some type of instability, shock, and surprise with your third house of commuting and communication, and you are wanting an end of that. You want stability here, and you will be having it in June once Uranus leaves Taurus. Um, and that's what this new opportunity or the hopes of seeding something new here is some type of stability going forward in regards to your third house and or job income in the background of that. So that is one major thing. The other thing is Venus um, is has ingressed on April 30th into Aries, back into Aries, now direct motion. So Aries is your second house of job, income, and your value system. Aries also natally rules the first house of image, persona, profile, how people see. It's the first house of image. So there's something about your job or your value system, your income that you're wanting a certain image to be portrayed as a certain image here. And many of you have either started a new job or maybe you've lost a job or you're in between jobs or maybe a promotion or there was something about your job that was either not fulfilling or not where you wanted to be or it was too stressful. And many of you have made a move or a change, or if you're not working, you have been working on getting something that you enjoy. Anyway, it is about hard work, and you don't mind that. You're doing that. You're paying your dues or what have you, and you can see at the end of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel, that this hard work will pay off, and it will. But if you've been having problems or issues when Venus was retrograde in Aries, now going forward, that will be smoothed out. Or if there were certifications that you needed to do, or some type of process going through, maybe ID or something like that, and you were working on that. Now it starts taking shape, or you accomplish that, and because Venus attracts love, money, fame, fortune, niceties, diplomacy, and the finer things in life. Um, so now that it's going forward, you'll be attracting that in regards to your job, income, and your value system. Even your CV, can be looking really good, or interviewing, you can be making a really nice, favorable impression. So take full advantage of it. If you are in a position that you feel unrewarding or or you don't like, this is the time to make a move when Venus is going direct, and especially this year, this time, um, take advantage of Venus in being in Aries. Okay, now in regards to the opposition, Mars is in Leo. Leo is your sixth house of health, habits, routine, and scheduling. And Pluto is it's opposing Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is your 12th house of secrets, of the past, of hidden enemies, of religion, faith, or no religion, no faith, any behind the scenes projects, or secrets or what have you. Um, Again, like I said, it's you're not really going to be affected as much here. If there is any opposition that you may have felt, it might be just about scheduling your schedule. It was just too much for you, um, or a routine, or because many of you have either like maybe two jobs, um, and just the commuting and the scheduling was interfering. Um, and this opposition is really mundane for you. It might be just like mm, this schedule, this routine is just not sitting well within your psyche, within your mind. Um, for others, if you have a secret thing going on in the neighborhood or with someone, there might be like bickering or gossip maybe going on. For others, it might be your health, um, your physical health that's in focus, and it's opposing something that you're doing behind the scenes. Maybe you're just staying up too late or not getting enough sleep. It can be as mundane as that. For others that are partnered, um, and may be experiencing problems with a partner, um, it again, it might be maybe about not being able to see each other because maybe your shifts uh, are not the same, or your routines are not the same. They've changed, um, and it's just either not sitting well again with your psyche, or you might be thinking that there's something going on um, um, in secret, or you are keeping something close to your chest. Um, Maybe because you don't want to hurt someone, or bicker or gossip, or for some of you, there is a problem with a partner has been about almost being sort of a nag, and you don't want to be that. You hate hate being that, um, or maybe a partner is being a nag. And again, there's these are two very entrenched ideologies and views, and no one's going to budge here um, with this opposition. Mars and Pluto opposes Mars in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius, and this has roots back in November, when there was heat and urgency um, in regards to a routine, a scheduling, or a health issue. Now, Leo also natally rules the fifth house of love, romance, children, and creativity. So that may be playing in the background in as far as a health routine or a schedule. Um, you might be partnered or in a romance, but you may have, children, and it's just interfering, or what have you. Or you might have gotten pregnant, and that's all that excitement about. But in any case, in November, you you started some kind of a routine or a schedule, or a health regime, and then in December it sort of slowed down. I mean, this opportunity, you were excited about it, and it might have slowed down in December as Mars went retrograde, um, or you felt that like um, you weren't chosen, maybe a certain routine you couldn't get, um, because when Mars went retrograde, that's what happened, like maybe slipped out of your hands. And then come January, it just fell off the radar. Uh, and you just, forgot about that and said, maybe it's part of paying my dues and let's just move on. But as of April 18th, you picked up where you left off. It might have come as a surprise that, hey, that routine that you wanted, that schedule that you wanted. All right, you can have it, and you might be starting that. Um, you might have started that, or you're working on starting that, or it might be a health regime that you're working on, and it's coming to this opposition um, with Pluto in Aquarius and your 12th house of the past secrets of your psyche, or of taking care of someone. It might be that. Like I mentioned, many of you have like maybe two, maybe even three jobs. God. Um, and it's just this running back and forth. Many of you, because I like sort of figured it out in your April scope, but before that, I was like, something about flying. Um, your job has something about do with flying, but like flying home or flying or having two homes. And I figured it out in April, and many of you might be in the airline industry, or maybe even uh, boats, cruises, or things like that. And that would make complete sense. But that will develop more in the summer. In any case, Pisces, those are the three major aspects that I wanted to discuss. And again, for you, it's really not going to be a life or death or very impactful. You have your head down right now, and you're working, or doing something um, with setting yourself up somehow with money or a job or something like that. And you could care less about this opposition, to tell you the truth. So you're okay with this. Um, if you do have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments below. I answer all the questions. And after I upload this, I will start recording your May horoscope. And we will see what May holds, and May holds new energies. I just wanted to mention that in your April horoscope, I did mention that these energies at the end of April is a wrap up of our endeavors from January through March, and the first week of a couple of weeks of April, an extension uh, of what started back in fall. If I have mentioned that at the sake of repeating myself, I did want to, at the risk of repeating myself, I did want to mention that. So just keep that in mind. This is a wrap up because May we start these new energies. Okay, Pisces, I missed you guys. All right, I'll talk to you in the next video, hopefully soon.